Die beide gucken daran. Und die beide gucken daran. Der muss die ein bisschen sprechen.
Und hier drin muss Ruhe sein, ne? Also
Kein Klatschen.
untereinander leise sprechen, alle die hinter der Kamera sind.
Kein Klatschen, bitte. C'est bon, tu as trouvé la bonne solution. Susanna, in the middle?
Hello and a warm welcome to all dear participants of our Tribunal 2.0. The Tribunal is called Determined Against the Reactionary Refugees Policy of the EU. Many people asked us, what does that mean, Tribunal 2.0? It's the second tribunal of this kind. The first took place in the year 2019, in the time when our Minister for Internal Affairs said the mother of all problems is migration. Our opinion was the mother of all problems are people like Seehofer, and the first tribunal had a claim, had different witnesses, and in the end it made a judgment that we are going to organize ourselves better, we are going to continue fighting determinedly in the fight against this reactionary refugees policy of the federal government and worldwide. Because already then we were conscious of the fact that the wave of migration, due to reasons for flight, who often lie in poverty, in destruction of the natural environment, in the exploitation of the natural resources of the countries, is going to rise further. This completely was true, and during the Corona and World Economic Crisis was considerably worsened. Even more important that we do this tribunal today. We were completely overwhelmed by all the witness statements, by everyone who wrote us, by the words of greetings. We thought there could maybe be 10 witness statements. We received 30. We had words of greetings, cultural contributions. So you can look forward to a varied and colorful program this afternoon. Of course, today it's also about celebrating a victory in particular. The victory that Alassane Fuapong, together and for many people who fled and many activists of the Refugee Solidarity obtained 2 days ago at the administrative court in Stuttgart. We are also going to talk about that. Already now, my warmest congratulations to all the fighters who contributed to that. First, so that everyone who is new knows what was the trial all about, what was the prehistory of now we are talking. We are refugees, not criminals. We'd like to show you a film that Alassane Fuapong made so that you have an entrance and first impression of the story behind it and how it all emerged.
April
13th April 2018. The police wants to deport a man from Togo. However, the refugees in Elwang protest peacefully and self-organized against his deportation. As a result, the friend from Togo, for now, was not deported, a success of solidarity. However, the next day, Bild newspaper, amongst others, write, police forced with violence to stop deportation. 50 Africans would have demolished police cars, allegedly a big lie. For such a racist way of reports, Bild newspapers already known. 2018, we've been massively attacked by police that penetrated our refugees camp and attacked the refugees' homes on a mass scale. There were 600 police forces. It was dramatic. 9th May, in Ellwangen, 300 people take the streets. They are demonstrating against the police violence 1 week ago. Their slogan, "We are refugees, not criminals." There's been a lot of talk about us. Now we are talking. Our hearts are full of love. After this attack of the police officers, the refugees organized themselves, started a demonstration and a press conference with the city outside of the refugees' home, Leer. Many journalists from Germany came. Many activists supported the press conference, amongst them Comboni, the refugees' help organization of the church in Ellwangen. On the press conference, the refugees report themselves what happened exactly. Such a press conference hasn't been there before in Germany. They also address the inhabitants of Ellwangen, of the city of Ellwangen, directly. Between us, there are people who do voluntary work in the camp. Some of us visit the schools in the city of Ellwangen. We want you to know that, because the closer you get to someone, the more you get to know him or her. If people from Ellwangen say that we disturb your peace, that we harm, that means you will never be able to get to know us. Alassane Fuapong and Jesaja Robi registered this demonstration. Some weeks later, on 20th July 2018, Alassane Fuapong is suddenly at 3:00 a.m. is deported to Italy, a racist revenge act. After that, the circle of friends Alassane emerged with a nationwide solidarity movement. Within a short time, all over Germany, 30,000 signatures for his return to Germany are being collected. 6 months later, it's become reality. Alassane Fuapong comes back to Germany, again hands in a request for asylum and sues the land Baden-Württemberg. I decide to take legal actions against land of Baden-Württemberg just because the refugees, after this attack by the police, lost the trust in the asylum process in Germany. Mainly because this attack was not only against the law, it was also very painful. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern is a trainee for media design for images and sound in North Rhine-Westphalia. In January 2021, he receives a letter from his lawyer. Finally, the court trial is there. On 18th February 2018, his file against the land of Baden-Württemberg is being negotiated. Our redaction today visited the lawyer's office, Meister & Partner, to talk with Mecklenburg-Vorpommern and his lawyer Frank Jasensky and to find out what this trial is going to be about. On 18th February at the local court in Stuttgart, the court trial of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern against the land of Baden-Württemberg will take place with the aim that the police attack of 3rd May 2018 in the Landesaufnahmestelle Ellwangen will be named unlawfully. This police attack is the immediate topic of this trial. All the claims the refugees would have prevented the deportation with violence will have just vanished and turned out to be lies. This police attack, however, was also a climax of the reactionary wave to implement a through and through reactionary refugees policy in the Federal Republic of Germany. An expression of that was the campaign against the sea rescues, which as a consequence had thousands of drowned refugees in the Mediterranean. Fortification of the EU borders, the strengthening of the EU borders policy, Frontex, Minister Seehofer's law, go away to facilitate deportation and arrestments of refugees. Legal vacuums were made, so the police should be allowed to penetrate homes of refugees without judicial decision. Also a question that will be part of the trial in Stuttgart. That's why not only the police attack in the Lea, but also the entire reactionary refugees policy of the EU, mainly determined by the German government of Merkel and Seehofer, is put to trial here. But the trial has also many other aspects. For instance, the police raid took place in Baden-Württemberg, a federal land, with a land government led by the Green Party under Minister Kretschmann, also the leader of the Lea in Ellwangen is a member of the Green Party. This trial is important because it's also an expression of getting into the offensive against this policy. Sued the land Baden-Württemberg and the police in Baden-Württemberg. This offensive step also drew attention into bourgeois circles, as it shows that the refugees, those who migrated, don't take anything and don't have to take anything. That's also what this court trial stands for, taking place under corona conditions. Only 10 visitors are allowed. Surely we are in favor of keeping the health protection, distance and masks, but it's not justified under corona aspects to have some measures of the court that you only get access to the report if you are being searched, hand in your bag, your mobile. We actually only know these kind of measures from so-called terrorist court trials. The visitors from the very beginning are seen as potential disturbance and are being discriminated. So there, of course, is the suspicion that this stands in a line with the whole handling of those who migrated in Ellwangen, that also the friends and visitors of this trial are being discriminated. We are going to protest against that, and we will ask to stop that. The significance of this court trial against the land Baden-Württemberg is very high in how we deal with the asylum process in Germany in general. If there is a victory, I think it's going to be a good thing for us that we can do away with some of the restrictive asylum laws. But I want to tell to refugees who are hesitating and don't want to come to the court trial, I want to tell you to have fear. is not going to have. The more we are, the more influence we will have. And our court trial will bear fruits, and I hope that I can count on you, that you come and support the movement. That, of course, was outrageous. People who come from other countries and have quite no rights here, and then one of them dares to sue the land government of the state government, and of course the slander of Bild Zeitung and others started. How everything turned out is something that we are going to hear soon. But first I would like to tell everyone how you can contribute to this tribunal. Of course we have all the witness statements, but you can also write emails. The email address is can be seen. You can also hand in questions or comments in the live stream, and then we are going to present and also answer them in between our event. Then it is important that the link for English translation has been changed. We are also going to show the new link. So much for the technical aspects, but now I would like to introduce who is going to report and assess what happened at the court. First, I would like to introduce Alassane Forpong, who sued the Baden-Württemberg government. Welcome, Alassa. Then we have two more representatives of, in the meantime, we say Ellwangen School. This is Annie from Cameroon. She's spokesperson of the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität, Circle of Friends, Refugee Solidarity in Baden-Württemberg. And Azuna from Ghana. He's also a fighter, an activist in Refugee Solidarity and in the fight and struggle for democratic rights and liberties, for the rights of those who fled, and also stands for the cooperation with the people in Germany. Then we have the lawyer Frank Jasenski, who worked 7 hours in the court. We are going to hear about how this worked out. And at the end, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Monika Gärtner-Engel. Together with Alassane Forpong, I was the initiator of the first tribunal. I'm also main coordinator of the Revolutionary World Organization ICOR, an organization in which 61 organizations, militant, courageous organizations from 5 continents have joined forces. That's where the close connection to the refugees movement comes from, but also to fight against the reasons for flight, which has to be in the first, in the center of attention worldwide. First, I would like to give the microphone to Alassane Forpong so that he can his assessment and his impressions of the court trial that he led and which he made a great success with. Go on, Alassa. Hello. Good evening. My name is Alassane Forpong. I'm 31 years old and I'm from Cameroon. Welcome to our second tribunal 2.0. In this spirit, on behalf of all members of the Freundeskreis, which I am the federal speaker of, I would like to congratulate everyone. 2 days ago, we were at the administrative court in Stuttgart, where we were leading the trial against the state government Baden-Württemberg. It lasted 7 hours and there was no decision. Next day, our lawyer's office received information of the administrative court Stuttgart saying that our claim had a partial success in the sense that this unlawful procedure of the police officers at the day of the deportation and the razzia, the search, is granted. That means the police could not have come into our camp like that and mistreat the refugees without their permission. Secondly, it was not a complete success because the flats of the refugees in the Erstaufnahme center, in the reception center, are not protected under the protection of the home. The lawyer is here. He will report more on the law aspect. From my side, I wish for a good tribunal. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alassane Foapong, for this first assessment. I think it was a huge success, but Alassane is a very factual and sober person. Euphoria is not his, but you proceed step by step, and that's why we are going to listen to our lawyer next. Frank Jasenski, what's your impression? What's your assessment of this court trial, of the result? And also, how will it continue from your opinion? Yeah, good evening also from me. My name is Frank Jasenski. I'm a lawyer here from the city of Gelsenkirchen, and I had the honor and the pleasure, I have to say, yesterday at the administrative court in Stuttgart to represent Alassane. Also on behalf of my colleague Roland Meister, who was not able to participate in the court for health reasons. Alassane already said it. It's a huge success that the administrative court in Stuttgart said that every police deployment activity connected to the storm on the Leer on 3rd May were declared unlawfully, especially storming his room. This person, the controller check of his person, of his room, of his belongings, and especially the 1.5 hour chaining of him on the floor. The court said these measures were unlawfully, and it's a big success because this court trial, in my knowledge, is the first where one refugee from Ellwangen who was affected by these measures sued the state Baden-Württemberg. As the same measures were made against all the refugees, you could say that this judgment also says that you have to see the treatment and the storm of every in general in that night as unlawfully. Then also to find out that it was unlawfully how Alassane was treated in connection with his deportation. We only had partial success that some parts were declared unlawfully, but the deportation itself was not according to the court acceptable. We are not going to accept the explanation of the court that they say the housing of refugees in this Landeserstaufnahmeeinrichtung, this refugee first reception center, are not protected by the constitutional law, and according to the German law, you can only enter a person's home with the judge permission, and this would not apply for the refugees. Of course, we will continue in this thing. And then secondly, the court says actually the assessment of the police Baden-Württemberg that the Leer would be a so-called dangerous place where you can conduct searches is applicable. Of course, we will also go against this because as the rates, the Land Baden-Württemberg explained this assessment of a dangerous place. The only thing that we can find in the files what the refugees would have planned as activities, it said they are planning a demonstration and taking your right of the constitutional right of freedom of opinion and of freedom of speech with the demonstration now we are talking cannot be a reason to see this Leer as a so-called dangerous place in the sense of the police law. We are also going to attack this And this also expresses that you say, yeah, what are the refugees planning? A demonstration. And this expresses what the government and also Mr. Seehofer are most afraid of, which is that the refugees join forces, take to the streets for their demands, and jointly with the supporters implement their demands. And so this judgment is a blow against Mr. Seehofer, who at that time was at the top of the slander against the refugees. And on this background, we assess this judgment as a big success and also as an encouragement for other refugees or people who fled to go against these police measures and disproportionate attacks, and also to claim their rights in front of the courts, because we cannot accept that refugees are attacked like in that way. And we will use every opportunity in future that we have. Thank you. Frank Jasinski. He's a lawyer in the lawyers firm Meister und Partner in Gelsenkirchen, and was leading this court trial from the judica part. Of course, there were a lot of participants, demonstrators, witnesses at court. We will hear more about that later. But first, the assessment of two of the spokespersons of the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität in the organization Solidarity International. First, Annie, she's from Cameroon, and she's from the regional group South as part of the federal speaker. She was elected as one of the federal speakers. Annie, what is your assessment on the events? My name is Annie. I'm from Baden-Württemberg. I'm 28 years old.
Annie, excuse-moi, je t'avais pas entendu. Tu peux recommencer?
Sorry, technical problems. I'm Annie from Cameroon. I'm 26 years old. I would like to speak about Thursday, the 18th, of the day of the court trial of Al-Assa. I was very disappointed that there were hardly any refugees on site, even though this court trial was affecting us. I would like to thank our lawyer with his intelligence and his professional attitude to bring us this victory for us, the refugees. The court trial lasted the entire day. It was very exhausting, but it was worth it. What I'd like to say, as a refugee, I think this court trial opens a door for all the refugees, for everything that is done against them, that they can resist injustice. The German government has not the right to treat us refugees as they want to. We have the right to speak, we can put up demands, and we also have to protest. In 2018, when I was in Lea, in the reception center, I experienced everything, and the group of Al-Assa already existed. I was also amongst the people standing there, and I was afraid to protest and to demand rights. I participated in 2 court trials already that criminalized Al-Assad because of this 3rd May 2018, and twice we gained victory. For me, this is a motivation, bringing me to address my brothers and sisters, the other refugees, who still suffer from the heavy injustices, to stand up and to lead the fight. Thank you. Thank you very much, Annie. I would like to say it is the first time that we have such a live stream with an English simultaneous translation. Everyone is voluntarily. I wish you could have a look into this venue. It's about 20 volunteers here working, refugees and people from Germany together. It's a huge joint project, and if there's sometimes we have a problem with the transition, stay calm. We will get to manage everything sooner or later. Thank you, Annie. Now Azuma from Ghana. He also was in Elwangen. Azuma, there you go.
Hello. Hello, my name is Azuma. I'm a member of Freundeskreis. I come from Baden-Württemberg. I would like to talk about the tribunal in Stuttgart the day before yesterday. What I see in the court that day, I was inside the court, and I see many things. I cannot understand Dutch, but the little one I understand. I see that our lawyer have tried a lot, and he's the great person we have in this organization. I can see they ask him many questions about Al-Assad, and he was able to answer all the questions, and he still even asks them more questions. Yeah, and what I see is we have hope. We have hope to win this Al-Assad against this Baden-Württemberg police. Yeah, and I see when they asked the police, there was 2 or 3 police like that. They asked them what was happened there. So they were saying different things. This one will come and say this, and this one will come and say different thing. And that made me happy that we'll have chance to win the case, because their mouth was not together. They was not together. They say different things. And that is the small thing that I hear and I see in the court, inside the court that day. Yeah. Thank you for everyone. Yeah.
Herzlichen Dank, Azuma.
Thank you, Azuma. It's very important also to hear about your experience, your impressions. At these court trials, you always think the main actors are the judge and the lawyers. But in reality, the main actors are the people from Elwangen. It's the people who said, now we are talking. It's the people also from Germany who joined together, the democratic revolutionary forces from Germany, the workers also from companies who said, we stand in solidarity. Eventually in this year, 11 million people were active in refugee solidarity. Partially, it seemed to be like the AfD or the reactionary opinions were the ruling opinion in the mass of the population that was and is not right. And that's why you need to see beyond the facade of the court and need to see who stands here, who speaks, in which interest is the judgment done, in which interest are they acting, and the judges and the lawyers and whoever is active there, the police officers, they are more in the obvious thing. And with Tribunal, we want to see beyond or behind the curtains what is going on, what do we want to achieve. Now we come to this next part of our Tribunal. I said it in the beginning that we obtained so many words of greetings. Some of them we would like to read out. They've all been shortened. Also, the witness statements later are shortened. We apologize, but everything put together, this Tribunal would have lasted at least 5 hours. So, our apologize, please. If you have sent in a word of greeting or a witness statement, sorry that we have shortened it. We are going to put everything in the internet and publish it. Everyone can be seen, but now it's important that we see all the range of our friends. So there we go. The first words of greetings, please.
Stand by me, Lesbos. Stand by me, Lesbos stands by Alassane Mfopong, defending his rights as a human being and as a refugee. He's an example for all of us, demanding better living conditions with respect for individual and social rights. Stand by me, Lesbos can only stand by him, listen to him and support him, as it does in every life story that respectfully claims a better future for all of us. Stand by me, Lesbos fights for the safe and dignified life of refugees and accuses anyone who puts their lives in danger. Gattiano and Rosa from Italy. We wish you a lot of success for your court date. You have a lot of friends in Germany and in Italy now. Let us now know how it works. A solidarity address by Ulla Jelpe, member of the Federal Parliament. Al-Assad will not allow himself to be intimidated. I stand in solidarity with him and his fellow activists who are fighting against police brutality and for basic human rights. And I call on all democratic people to show solidarity as well and defend the right to asylum and the rights of refugees. Stop police violence, stop the criminalization of those seeking protection. The brutal operation in the state reception center in Ellwangen must finally be clarified, and the victims of the attack must be compensated. Dear friends, from the federal representatives of Solidarität International, Solidarität International, we send our greetings. In the program of Solidarität International, among other things, it said, flight and migration have become a mass phenomenon. The plundering of the world's resources combined with inhumane exploitation and oppression are taking place daily all over the world. In these troubled times, solidarity and help is more necessary than ever. Masses of people are ready to do so. They help, they donate or volunteer. SE provides solidarity aid at eye level. SE wants to build bridges between peoples and people across national borders. Solidarity is not a one-way street. A large part of the problems in the world are closely interconnected and can only be solved together and across countries. So far, the quotation, 20 activities took place on the 18th of February, 17th of February, and all these activities show the lively campaigns in our organization. We congratulate Al-Assad for this great success before the court. It's sending a political signal Together and organized, international solidarity can do a lot and has a future. These activities were also a great start to celebrate the existence of our organization for 20 years, the 20th anniversary of our organization. Doris Henninger is writing.
The police attack in Ellwangen was obviously politically motivated to stir up sentiments in the population. We act. The fact that human rights were violated by the police was accepted. It was about sending a political signal. The court hearing must now also send a political signal that refugees in Germany have to be treated like human beings. Now I welcome our friends Azuma and Kevin. They want to read out their poem personally.
Good evening once again. My name is Azuma from Baden-Württemberg. I would like to thank Adelaide for her hard working, and I am here to say something about supporting Alassane for working hard to help asylum seekers in this country, especially in Baden-Württemberg. I give a letter to Alassane that day for going to Tribunal to support him, to motivate him for winning the court. I tell him not to forget how far he has come through. He has crossed seas, mountains. The time the place was hot, and he crossed the seas while he don't know how to swim, because he have problems in his country and he's trying to get a better place to stay. So he shouldn't lose hope. He should continue fighting. He shouldn't feel like giving up. One day will come, he will, I know by all means he will win the case and everything will be successful. So he shouldn't give up. He should continue working hard to develop in this organization. Yeah. And that is what I wrote him that day, to support him going to the court. Yeah. Thank you very much. Mr. Kevin.
Hello. Hello. My name is Kevin from Stuttgart. I bring greetings from Stuttgart. So I want to use the opportunity to thank everyone that stands by us, that makes us to know that we are important in this country. So I made a video on that very day of protest in Stuttgart about the refugees, about the way the police are treating us. Most of us don't sleep in the night because of police. We run from place to place. Most of us have committed suicide because of the police. So we tried all our best. We leave our country because the problem we have in our country. So if we don't have a problem in our country, we can't live. So we want to thank everybody here that stood by us for us to make important here, and we say thank you for everybody.
We are Alassane, Alatu, and Ialikto aus Guinea. We are living in Gladbeck. We are fighting together with you that the deportations have to stop. We shouldn't be afraid. We have to go on fighting and criticize it, and so that the government will hear us. From 19 refugees from Gladbeck received a deportation letter. We wish you a lot of success in the court trial against the land of Baden-Württemberg. Friends from Milano, Italy. Dear Alassa, my brothers and sisters that you visited in Milano, coming from all over the world, are going on to struggle against the exploitation and oppression in the whole wide world, which are aiming
submission
for submission. It had opened a lot of young people their eyes, and it is already successful. Your comrades from Milano.
Sikobas. Dr. Lutz van Dijk, the court trial of Alassane Forpong against the country of Baden-Württemberg has a significance which goes far beyond this part of Germany, and it is also registered outside of Germany. A refugee for once, not as a beggar or even a person who is put to trial, but as a person that raises his voice to stand for his rights and the rights of many other refugees who are in a similar position. His voice shall be heard on 18th February 21, and his rights shall be acknowledged. Konstantin Wecker.
I have always been in solidarity with you and Alassa against the shame of Europe. I greet Alassa and all his fellow campaigners very warmly, your Konstantin. Thank you very much for these greetings. These greetings were very important to show that everywhere in Germany, and not only in Germany, also from Italy or Lutz van Dijk from Cape Town in South Africa and many other countries, they are already in solidarity with the Freundeskreis Refugee Solidarity, with this whole movement against the causes of flight, against deportation, against the undignified treatment of refugees and the violating of their human rights and freedoms, and against dividing them and the people where they come to. After these greetings, we want to go on with the first block of witness statements. We'll show these videos, and in all, we have 3 of these witness statements block, and in between these blocks, you have the opportunity to come up with your questions and contributions. You can also write your comments and opinions. Use the time, and in this so-called breaks in between the witness statements, we will talk about these comments and questions.
Hello, my name is Joachim Griesbaum. I'm one of the European coordinators of the ICOR. Within ICOR, 62 parties and member organizations join forces worldwide in the struggle against imperialism. The EU likes to show itself as a democratic, progressive, human rights acting alliance. On the contrary is the fact, only in the last 7 years, more than 20,000 people died attempting to cross the Mediterranean Sea and to come to Europe. With Frontex, an authority was created, kind of a border police that is not shying away from bringing the refugees into danger again. And the Airbus Corporation has the order for 50 million to survey the Mediterranean with drones and to search for refugees. In Bosnia, currently, more than 8,000 refugees are living in the forests, on the fields, in these weather conditions. Part of them lives in the burned down refugees camp Karalipa. Our member organization has declared we are a member organization and we stand for the right for flight and for militant work. From those in power and from the EU imperialists, we demand that they immediately stop this inhuman refugees policy. Europe must take in the refugees. They must do medical supply, food, and also psychological treatment for the refugees here. Patria Rada, our organization, stands for the joint struggle of the population and the refugees, of the workers and peasants in Bosnia. And they enabled the making contact between the refugees in Bosnia to this Tribunal 2.0 against the inhuman reactionary policy of EU imperialism. I'm happy that I had the opportunity for this contribution. I wish a lot of success for the Tribunal in the spirit of the slogan of Karl Marx, workers of the world unite. Oh.
I'm 27 years old.
And at the moment you live in?
At the moment I'm in Sarajevo, in Bosnia. I stayed in camp, I think from summer, which was fine in summer. Like, conditions were good, not much people in camp. Like, you have the chance, like, no line for stuff, taking stuff, also for shower, and, like, necessary stuff. There's not much people, so it was fine. But now I'm not in camp because there is too much people inside, and the conditions are really not good. Like, even for take shower, have a meal, you can find a big queue for it. So I left camp. I'm not in camp anymore.
Okay.
I didn't have a chance to work in Algeria. You can say like I left Algeria for a better future, for me and for my family, to help my family also. I think that is it. But I think no one can stay in this country, especially in this moment. Also, like Algeria, we had protests. And, like, it was more tight to find a job and a good job. That's why we left Algeria.
Can you tell us what is your name?
Yeah, my name is Hakim.
Where are you coming from?
I'm from Morocco.
When did you start your journey?
In the end of 2019.
So please, can you introduce shortly yourself?
Yes, my name is Mahmoud. I'm from Iran. My age is 41, and now I'm alone here because my family, I didn't take them because dangerous way.
And now, where do you live? You live in Sarajevo, in the camp?
No, I live in the camp, Bellagio, because single camp.
For single men?
Yeah, single man. And
can you tell me about the conditions there?
The condition is terrible, so terrible. We don't have shower, warm water. Here is right now, the temperature is down, under zero.
Minus, yeah.
Everything is make ice. We can go to just to wash hand and face because so cold. We don't have warm water. I live in the tent.
How many people in this tent?
In tent, around 400.
400 in one tent, yeah. And all in all, Blajui is around 4,000 at the moment, right? Yeah, which is very much over the capacities of the camp, which is around 1,500. Mahmoud, you took a really long trip for 3 years, a very dangerous trip to reach Europe. Why? What is your goal? Where do you want to go? And what is the reason? What is the main reason you took such a dangerous road to arrive to Europe?
I can say about my past. I think you know about government in Iran. I can't say about my past, but now I'm thinking about my family. I would like to go to Germany or Switzerland because I have one daughter. I'm thinking about she, you know, the second my opinion, the second my idea. I hope she can find the good school, the good college, the good future for herself, because in Iran you can't find anything for her because everything trouble. I can't say about my past, and I hope all family join together again.
Yes.
Hello everyone. First, I would like to express my solidarity to everyone who is suffering from police violence and state repression. We should all be really clear that this is mainly suffered by people who have been in a long struggle for justice, because their rights have been oppressed and diminished already for a long time. We remember, for example, in 2011, there was a boat where people were left to die by the EU for over a week in the Mediterranean Sea. The dying at our border continues, but if we allow as a civil society that refugees and asylum seekers do not have the same rights to life as everyone else, it will lead to a society where we allow that elderly people are set to be disposable, as we now see during COVID, or where not the same amount of medical care is applied for people with, for example, learning disabilities, such as in the UK, happening at this moment. We have to stand up against these injustices, and we have to join the struggle for justice which people and communities from the Global South have been fighting for centuries. In this particular case, I want to say clearly that there shouldn't be any deportations of anyone. People should have the same rights, and they should have a right to freedom of movement. There should be no deportations from the EU or anywhere.
Hi Kevin, you are from Nigeria?
Yeah, I'm from Nigeria.
Yes, and welcome. I have a question to you. Why did you leave your country?
Yeah, we have a lot of problems. I have a lot of problems in Nigeria, having a problem with the government. Then I tried to escape it down to Libya to Italy, so Italy to Germany. Right now I'm here in Germany, in Stuttgart. So we beg the government of Germany to help us, not for them to return us back to our country. We are not safe in our country. So we need them. Please, we so much need them to help us, not for them to deport us to our country. We have a problem in our country. That's the reason why we live.
What do you want to say to the German government?
Yeah, we are refugees. We are not criminals. We need freedom. They should treat us equal rights. We are all human. We are not animals. So we need freedom. We need peace. We need everything to be restored as a human. We cannot sleep in the night. We cannot move in anyhow. Please, we need the government of Germany to help us, so that things will move equal rights. We are all human. We are not animals. We are refugees, not criminals.
So in the background we have now the manifestation for the solidarity with Al-Assad.
Yeah.
How do you evaluate the day?
Yeah.
The day today?
Today was good. I'm so much happy because I see the white people so much, most of them, they love us so much. They really want us to be in this country. But the bad people said no, they don't want us, they want us to go. But we so much beg the government of Germany to help us so that we can have the equal rights in the country.
Thank you very much. Long live the international solidarity.
Yeah, my name is Joy. I want to contribute about the police brutality in Baden-Württemberg. Yeah, number one for me, the way they treat us with immigrants is not really good for us, because in where we are living now, for me, where I am living here, I work. Number one, my roommate will work. They put us in one room. We pay big money for that one room, but we decide to rent our apartment. They refused for us to rent our apartment. They said we should stay here from 2 years. And number two, how can somebody give birth to a baby here? 2 months baby, they will give him a paper. They will tell him to leave this country. That is not really good for us. They have to do something about that, because a new baby don't know anything. You cannot say so a baby they give birth here, they should take it back to maybe Italy or Nigeria. They should take it away from here. That one is very bad. And about so many people who like to work here, but they don't give them the opportunity to work, because many of us, we are ready to work in this land. But when they see you are working, they will call you and give you dodo. They tell you to leave, which is not good. They should try to do something about that, because we are here to work, to find a good life for us. We are not here for bad or to do anything. We don't have to put hand on a bad thing or to go and do any nonsense thing. That is what I want to contribute about this. They should try and amend everything they are doing. Thank you.
My name is Mike Robert. I'm from Nigeria. So I try to make this video to let people know what we are passing through in Germany here. So Germany tried to bring us here in the year 2019, April 3rd, where we were rescued by German ship NGO called Alakudi CI. Where we were rescued April 3rd, 2019. So after all said and done, we spent 11 days on top of the sea before they allow us to land in Malta. So to cut the story short, after that, then the German delegate came to Malta to interview us. There were 4 countries who agreed to share us into different parts of European countries. So Germany take 25 people, or 27 people. Portugal take 17. France take 18 people. So we that come to Germany, since we arrived here, since 2019, June 26, we have been passing through a lot here. We have been passing through difficulty. And Germany volunteered to bring us here. And now they are telling us that they want to deport us back to our country. So I don't know the reason why. So I'm just trying to tell the European Union to look into it, because I did came to Germany by myself. They were the one who volunteered to bring me here. So I don't know the reason why they are still threatening me to deport me. They are suffering me here. I'm not free. So where I live, we live more than 5 in one flat. So they did not allow me to go to school. They don't allow me to work. They are just threatening to deport me all the time.
Hello everyone. My name is Joseph. I'm from Ghana. And also, I'm a member of Solidarity International. And I'm here to support my brother, Alassane. And at the same time, I will take this opportunity to urge every refugee to commit himself to this association. It helped a lot. And I'm going straight to my issues. I will say that clear. Please, those people, they are saying that Ghana is safe. Ghana is a safe country. So we should go back to our country. Ghana, the Ghanaian youth or Ghanaian people are living in Germany, but in Budapest, will not get chance to have working permit, to go to school, to showcase themselves. Please, we are urging you. We are plead. Ghana is not a safe country like how as you people see. Ghana is not safe. I will not waste time, or I will not take you long back. I will just take you to just last year. This election, they organized last year, 2020. Do you know the number of people they killed them? Do you know the number of innocent people they killed them? But who cares? Who cares? Who is going to stand for them? Who is going to stand for them? No one. They killed them for nothing. The government did not say anything about that. The government did not speak to this issue. Those innocent, they killed them. The government did not say anything. The opposition party also did not say anything. Their life has been gone. Imagine that they have the chance to run away. They will run away like us. Ghana is not safe. Many people has been killed all day, all night.
Hello, can you hear us? Pay attention to our voice and help us out. Hello, 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 can you hear us? Pay attention to our cry and help us out. Whoa, 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 higher we go. Whoa, 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 higher we go. Let love lead, color doesn't matter. We are one, no matter where you come from. Black lives matter, refugees and all the oppressed people. Let's lift up our voice, fight for our right. Und jetzt alle Refrain. Solidarity forever. United we stand, divided we fall. 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 We say no. No more deportation. No more, no more, no more, no more, no more deportation. We say no. No more deportation. No more, no more, no more, no more, no more deportation. Jetzt wieder Refrain. Solidarity forever. United we stand, divided we fall. Solidarity forever. United we stand, divided we fall.
Das war der erste Teil. Und
that was the first part of our witness statements. I want to add something to that. You have seen that most of the witnesses were anonymous because all of them are suffering or are afraid that they will be deported and will be tortured and have to go back to inhuman situations. And that is a very important issue that we always have to keep in mind. So we want to thank them even more that they were brave enough to send us their statements to show us their feelings and to send the truth into the world. And to send that around the world. Maybe you have noticed where all these witness statements are coming from. Of course, these refugees came from several countries, but in these statements it became obvious that the Freundeskreis Refugee Solidarity in Solidarität International has very close connections to the Greek islands, especially to Lesbos and the former Camp Moria, which is now called Karatepe. We have a Solidarity Pact with Ochi from Lesbos and Solidarität International in the camp of Karatepe, and we have learned from them a lot and got a lot of insight how the refugee organization is taking place there. And it's very important that these refugees have also contacts and connections to Bosnia and Libya, because they have the most severe situation in degrees snow, without warm water, often without tents. They are left there with a conscious aim to deter them, as they do with Frontex and the conditions in these camps.
To close the borders off.
To close the borders off. We start now with several questions that have arrived. But before that, I want to say that one speaker, which is not anonymous, which spoke against deportations, and that was the very courageous Captain Carola Rakete, who sent us this video and plaidoyer against deportation. For those who don't know who Carola Rakete is, she was the captain of the Sea-Watch 3, who didn't get the permission to go to Lampedusa for 3 weeks. And there is a very exciting film
and
moving film about these weeks on the boat, how they encouraged each other on this boat, and at the end the Captain Carola Rakete said, I don't have the permission to go into the harbor, but nevertheless I will go into this harbor. So Mayday, Mayday, I'm coming. And then the harbor says, no, you don't have the permission, and Carola Rakete says, I'm coming, I'm coming. I have a Mayday situation, and she's entering the harbor, and she's so courageous. And when she came there, what happened? She was arrested, and that is the reality of the politics of deterrence and of the EU. And at this place of the Tribunal, we want to express our solidarity with Carola Rakete as well. But now the first comments and questions we will discuss here in the podium. So please, the first comments, questions that have arrived. We, members of the Freundeskreis, want to greet you from Erfurt, where we are watching the live stream right now. Also in Thüringen, we were protesting on Thursday against the reactionary refugee policy of the EU, and in Germany. With this campaign, we want to strengthen Al-Assad's back in his trial against the land Baden-Württemberg. We are supporting refugees from Iraq for their permission to stay. And there was a contribution on Thursday from a moving contribution. He said, in former times, people caught fish in the Mediterranean Sea. Today, the fish are eating humans that have drowned in the Mediterranean Sea. This is the message of the EU, the values of the EU. So warm greetings from all participants.
MLPD greets all refugees fighting for their rights and organizing themselves. Seehofer, Stoibel and Kretschmann have to suffer a severe defeat. Sebastian Sumtik writes, moving words of greeting. Thank you to everyone who sent them in. A comment from the chat. The was a first meeting in a court trial where 2 security officers were put to court because an alleged sexual abuse of a woman in Turkey. It turns out that the woman is still held in the same center with them where that happened. The 2 security officers who are currently in the one prison said at court, despite DNA proof, one of the persons denied to have sexually abused her, and the other one denied it too. The deportation centers are under the control of the security management under the Minister of Interior Affairs. The court trial postponed the trial and decided that the other employees of the center have to state at the next meeting. The lawyer's office of One Turkey said in a declaration that they will hand in a motion at courts that the abused woman will be put out of this home. But also there was a motion that the officers there are put out of this camp as they are still in the camp with that woman.
Yesterday we had a great activity in Cologne with refugees and workers. Deportation that is frightening, but how can we achieve that more are able to overcome this fear? A lot of greetings from the Youth League Rebel. Dear friends, congratulations for your great live stream, and especially to Alassa. Our question: is there any punishment for the police or those responsible for this unlawful police operation? Thank you very much for those who sent us their first responses and comments. And I want to add something to that. Who knows about the first tribunal knows that we started with an accuse of Alassa, and the other witnesses contributed to this accusation. This time we don't have this accusation, this charge, because we noticed that these witness statements, the greetings, they all are a single accusations. As one of the witnesses, that are the huge values of the EU when the fish is not eaten by men, but men are eaten by fish because they are drowning in the sea. Among those comments were also questions, and these questions I want to hand over. The one question was, what can we do to overcome fear? Because many refugees are afraid to organize, afraid to speak up. So I want to ask Annie and Azuma, what is your opinion? How can we overcome this fear? And another question for our lawyer, if there are any possibilities, opportunities or plans that those responsible for this unlawful police operations are made responsible for that. So please first the answer from Annie and Azuma. What are your ideas to succeed over the fear? Thank you for me having to speak. As a response, I would say of refugees that hide behind their fear, you have to think about where you're from and why you are here, what you have suffered so far. And after so many years of prison, to come back, if you think like that, you can overcome your fear. Another possibility, that fear does not solve any problem. If you are afraid, the more afraid you are, the more the government increases the pressure. We are here, we have to stand up, and we have to fight. Because it was already a fight until we got here, and so we cannot simply give up now. So from my own experience, I think we have to stand up, because nobody is fighting this struggle for us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Annie. She answered to the question, what is to be done against the fear? And also our friend Azuma wants to respond to that.
For asking me this question. I'm very glad to have that question. And I will answer you briefly. My friends and sisters, they are on fear to do something or on fear in this country. They don't need to be fear. You have to be brave. You have to fight for your right. You have traveled across this desert and crossed this river, this sea, and come here. And you put fear on your body. If you are going to somebody's house and you reach the house and you didn't knock the door, how can the person know that you arrived? So if you are fear, how can you fight for your right? You have to be brave and bring yourself together to this organization so that we'll fight together and we can make it. But if you are fear, I can remember the time we was in Elvangi. They said our country is safe. They don't want to transfer us. They don't want to give us chance to go in Heim or something like that. So small we ask and we try to do demonstration, but we don't know how to do it. Finally, we find Adelaide and Mr. Woody, and they organized one demonstration for us, and we started. Since then, we started our group. Nobody was afraid to do something, because if you are alone, that you cannot do. But if you are together, you can make it. So there no need to be fear. That is what I have to say.
Vielen Dank, Anni und
Thank you very much, Annie and Azuma, concerning the question how to cope with the fear. Now there's the question for our lawyer. That is the question whether the policemen who participated in this unlawful operation, could they be punished? And I want to add, it was not only the policemen who were responsible, they were the ones doing it, but those behind these operations were Minister Strobel or Minister President Kretschmann. We don't know about that, but we know that afterwards he didn't distance himself from it. So we always have to keep in mind that the green-black government in Baden-Württemberg, which is the model for the next federal government as well. So the questions whether those responsible, which have been declared illegal, these actions, are there any possibilities to punish them? Frank Jarzecki was a lawyer in this court trial. He's from the lawyer's office here in Gelsenkirchen, and he wants to answer to that.
Yeah, of course. Minister Kretschmann did not only not distance himself, but after the police deployment, he was overjoyed and thanked the police for this consequent and strict handling. So that, of course, this is the position that the Green Minister took on this police deployment. So far, there were no investigations against police officers. There were some first checks, but the state attorney of Ellwangen saw no reason to act against the police officers. But of course now, on the basis of what the police had to hand over as files to us, and with the fact that the police now, that the court now declared the police deployment essentially, in essential part, as unlawful, and also with the help of the police officer's statements at court. We will check again whether we sue with the files that we already have seen. It is clear that the state government was participating. Also, the top of the Minister for Internal Affairs, Strobel, said, if you find any reason to do this deployment, do it. And there were other similar statements, and we will check with all the information that we now gained in this court trial against whom, especially leading police and police officers and other authorities, especially regarding the chains and the storming of the rooms. At least 1/3 of the rooms were broken up with equipment, and whoever was responsible for this, we are going to check exactly whether and to what extent we are going to file another suit. Thank you, Frank Rasensky. If you hear about these procedures in detail, you can understand very good what this question with fear is all about. And I want to come back to the words of greeting of Azuma. Actually, he wanted to read it out. However, he only read out a short part. And his greeting to Alassa ahead of the court trial was like a poem against fear. And so if Azuma allows me to, I would like to read it out in German again.
Azuma wrote to Alassa, "Never forget how far you have come, everything you have gone through. All the time you have pushed on, even when you felt you couldn't. All the mornings you got out of bed, no matter how hard it was. All the time you wanted to give up, but you got through another day. Never forget how much strength you have learned and developed. So be strong, you will win. We are with you. You are not alone. If you are feeling a bit down today, remind yourself that you have come a long way. You have crossed oceans when you didn't know how to swim. You have climbed mountains when you were hurt, your feet hurt. You've taken leaps of faith when you didn't have wings. So you will survive today, and you will do it with style." That was the complete greetings, which Azuma hasn't read completely, maybe because he's too modest. So thank you very much for this poem against the fear and for the strength. And we have more comments and questions. So please, for those who convey these comments and questions to us. Gehörwäsche. A lot of greetings from Kölle and congrats to our good friend Alassa. Tam Arnaun, also from my side, a lot of greetings to Alassa and congratulations for the success in front of the court. It's great how the speakers report from their impressions, and Solidarity is the process. I witnessed the process and the trial that has taken place, and I'm grateful how this whole movement has become an organization. So now he's repeating himself. It's achieving huge successes. Team Germany is to destroy drones. From Uwe Hartmann, I want to congratulate Alassa and his lawyers for this partial success. Thank you very much. Long live international solidarity.
And to Annie, a speaker, and to all.
And to Annie. Anne Föhringer, we are congratulating Alassa from the Youth League Rebel and their children's organization Rotfüchse. You are an example for us, and because you are leading such a courageous struggle against the rebellion against reactionary refugee policy is justified.
Klaus Hampeis, congratulations to your success. We, automotive workers of Daimler and other corporations, joined in the IAC, International Automotive Workers Conference, coordination. Tony Lenz. The description of the inhuman conditions in the refugees camps in Bosnia are very moving. This week in the Monday demonstration in Gelsenkirchen, we passed a solidarity resolution with the fighting miners in Bosnia. We also asked them to care for the refugees. The joint struggle is very important. Glück auf. Good luck. Thank you very much for these encouraging comments. We continue in our program. We did not only receive videos, but also written statements. These written contributions are being read out in the next block. You should be looking forward to that. My name is A. On 18th February 2021, the court trial of Alassa against the state Baden-Württemberg will take place. I was always also in Ellwangen when the brutal police deployment happened. Women and men were separated. We were in the house of women when the police with many cars and dogs raided our camp. We were very scared. We didn't know what was happening and why they came. I've never seen so many police and police dogs. Our house was surrounded, so no one could get out and no one should see what's happening. We were so scared. Women and children were screaming. Even security in our house was scared. We felt like criminals. I was not a direct eyewitness how the police kicked doors at the men's houses, throwing refugees on the floor and putting boots on their necks. Or others jumping out of windows out of fear. I heard this from the men on the next day. But I saw for myself that many were injured. The legs were injured because they had jumped out of the windows out of fear. This operation was against human rights. We were treated like criminals. But we are refugees who have experienced bad things, are looking for protection and want to be treated like human beings. Alassa was only showing solidarity. Why should solidarity be criminal? I don't understand that. It's hard to believe what they did to him. Slander in the press, brutal deportation to Italy. It is very good and courageous that Alassa and the circle of friends, the Freundeskreis, are suing against this police action. I am in solidarity with him and wish him and all of us the best and much success. Next, a witness statement from Annie on the specific reasons for flight of women. Good evening again. The German government knows exactly what happened to most of the women who fled, and they don't help them. During the flight, women are different dangers subjected, physical, sexual, and also financial abuse. Kidnapping to get money from the relatives is a day-to-day business in Libya. If women don't bring money, they are sold and forced to prostitute themselves. Many die. Many women have to prostitute themselves for them being able to pay for the further flight. This is human trafficking promoted by the EU, and Libya is even getting money. People who bring refugees on insecure boats get money for that. Many women experience terrible violence in the prisons. Many women are fleeing from their home countries because already there they have suffered from severe traumas. And then it continues in flight. And here in Germany, you don't get enough help. Even though women have to be especially protected. I myself had to experience a renewed deportation to Italy, where women all again are suffering from prostitution and violence. In Germany, female refugees are treated in the same way as men, but this is a problem. Women need a special protection and a different psychological and physical treatment. Already 2015, the Federal Board of the Therapeutics said that therapy for refugees is urgently needed, especially for women who in most cases suffered rapes. Everyone knows that the risk for suicide is very high for a long time. It's a scandal that refugees only get very little medical care. This is against human rights. Everyone should have the treatment that he needs or she needs. Also, protection or going to female doctors is not cared for. We fought for therapy in Esslingen for a month and we were successful. We got the treatment that we need. We refugees are not people of third class. Special protection and immediate help for female refugees. Do away the restricted health care for refugees. Acknowledgement of specific rights for asylum of women, and we demand medical care for all women who fled. Thank you. Thank you, Annie, for this contribution. We continue on this side with reading out written witness statements that we obtained.
A contribution from Professor Jean Ziegler. This tribunal is urgently needed. The EU's inhumane deterrence strategy is responsible for the hell of Karatepe and other camps on Europe's southern borders. Behind triple NATO barbed wire, tens of thousands of refugees are kept like animals. The universal human right to asylum, the right to food, to health, to education, to decent housing is trampled underfoot. The EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen does not see refugees as people in need of protection, tormented people fleeing torture and death, but only a threat to the European way of life. The 27 member states of the EU are democracies. The Federal Republic of Germany, in particular, is the most powerful and vibrant democracy on the continent. There is no powerlessness in democracy. We must stand up and force our governments to immediately stop the strategy of deterrence, the inhumane conditions in the camps, the pushback policy on the high seas, to evacuate the camps, and to distribute the refugees among the European states and restore the right of asylum. What separates us from the victims is only the coincidence of birth. Instead of manhunts and barbed wire, we demand hospitality and the reception of refugees in accordance with international law. Jean Ziegler, advisor to the UN Human Rights Council and author of the book The Shame of Europe. Musa is from Guinea and fled because of ethnic persecution and had started to learn to read and write in German here. In 2017, he was deported from Gelsenkirchen to Italy in the dead of night because he was not allowed to apply for asylum here. He had not been guilty of anything at all, but on the whole flight to Naples, he sat shackled between two officials like a criminal. In Naples, they simply tipped him off the plane and said he had to go to Sicily to apply for asylum. Musa made his way to Sicily. There he lived virtually on the streets and could not able to spend the night in a Christian shelter for the homeless. Since 2017, his asylum process has been postponed again and again. Simply nothing happens. Of course, he can't get work without papers either, especially since there is a lot of unemployment and poverty in Sicily. He has made some friends who support him a bit and helped him with the household. He helps them with the household. There is no social welfare in Italy. The German authorities are well aware of the inhumane conditions for refugees in Italy. Nevertheless, deportations continue. Young people who simply want to learn and work are literally pushed into the gutter and into a lack of prospects. That's a disgrace. In the end, it is only the solidarity, also from friends in Germany, that gives him hope. That is from an activist in Refugee Solidarity in Gelsenkirchen. The next one is a greeting from the lawyer Frank Jasinski, witness statement.
During the last years, we have seen a considerable growth of the worldwide refugees movement, flight from natural catastrophes, from exploitation, from wars, etc. And at the same time, we've seen that there is a constant increase of the asylum, of the refugees policy. You don't care about the reasons for flight, actually, but you go against those who fled. And the climax of this reactionary refugees policy is the so-called EU Migration Pact. In September 2020, it was introduced under the German EU presidency, and Minister Seehofer said this is such an important concern for him that this is being implemented during the German presidency. I would just like to point out some points of this pact, because it says that the extension of the border control and increased arrestment should be done. The refugees should already at the border be security checked and screened. The consequence will be that only a very minimal number of refugees can enter the EU at all and gets an asylum procedure on not even the level today. During this time of police check, the refugees stay in the so-called border camps, the system Moria, that should become normal. EU states in so-called crisis situations can even go below this standard. More and more people are not going to have the chance for a regular asylum procedure. The system Frontex is to be extended. Already now we see a big number of so-called pushbacks to reject refugees who actually already are staying in the EU borders on sea. They are being pushed back to Turkey or Libya with violence. The main emphasis on this EU Migration Pact is not in having a rule for migration, but that the deportations should be extended. And the climax is, we've used the term a lot today, the solidarity, the term of solidarity that has a positive and a good name in the working class and refugees movement and everywhere really, is being abused and perverted. European solidarity shall be to introduce so-called deportation partnerships that EU countries like Hungary, who don't want to accept refugees, should be responsible for deportation of refugees. In real words, refugees that don't get asylum in the EU are deported to fascists like Orban, so that he can deport them in their countries of origin or to other countries. Against this reactionary refugees policy, we are going to resist. And also for that stands Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität. For that stands the former Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität, which is now called Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität, Refugee Solidarity. It was an important step from a solidarity circle referring to one person, to one concrete brutal deportation, to extend and to organize from a loose circle of friends to a right-out organization of refugee solidarity. And the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität have found a wonderful partner in the organization Solidarity International, which is a federal, a nationwide organization, and the projects of solidarity, and they realize projects of solidarity all over the world. There are basic groups of Solidarity International, and they are linked, as already mentioned, like with the organization OCHI on Lixos, for instance, in Peru, in planting tree or activities and so on. The special thing of Solidarity International is that 100% of the donations go into the project. There's very much voluntary work, but what is donated goes 100% guaranteed, and with auditors and cash checks and open books, there is a guarantee that it goes to the projects. We are going to hear how many NGOs work later. So I want to especially emphasize this way of working of Solidarity International and how they have worked over many years, and that's why the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität joined them. Every solidarity project has its own account, and in between you can see it on your screen. We show you the account details that was installed for the refugee solidarity. I'm sure you can imagine that this co-charge, the travel costs, the cooperation costs a lot of money, and independent of how much money one or the other person has, and independent of big salaries, how that are paid in the big NGOs today. We want to enable it that Ani and Azuma are here, even though the train ticket is expensive. So we are very happy about donation, and we can guarantee you that they go 100% into the refugee solidarity, which is also the title of the respective account. That just in between as an explanation. And now we continue with further videos that were sent in as witness statements, but often they are also a witness statement and an indictment at the same time. So please, the next videos.
I'm a member of Solidarity International. I want to say this to support Alassane for going court on the 18th. Germany say Ghana is a safe country, and I want to tell them that Ghana is not a safe country. One reason why Ghana is not safe: one, our leaders are corrupt. They only think about their family. They don't think about any other people in the country. Either you survive or what you are doing, they don't care. Either you die, they don't care. Two, gay and lesbian. Lesbians are not safe in the country. If they know that you are a gay or lesbian, they will kill you. Even before police will know that they are beating somebody to kill you, if they rescue you, they will still take you to prison because you are a gay. And you can die at any time. Three, northern part of Ghana is not safe because we have tribal wars, which if the youth escaped to run away from northern part to south, they say they are thieves because we cannot understand they cannot understand your language. You cannot understand their language, so they will lie to you that you are a thief. They will beat and kill you. And if we escape from Ghana and come to Europe for our life, they will still say we're from peace country. We should go back. they will deport you, they will do you this and do that, and which is not fair. Ghana is not safe. Help Ghanaians in this country and forget saying that they're from peace country and all that. Personally, Baden-Württemberg here, the leaders of Baden-Württemberg, please stand up for this. Ghana is not a safe country. Ghana is not safe. So save Ghanaians here and give them place to stay and have their good life, because their lives are in danger. That is why they are here. So please help them, give them stay to protect their life. Thank you to you all.
Ja, hallo, mein Name ist Ali, ich komme aus Nîmes.
Hello, my name is Ali. I'm from Iran, and I'm here since 2014.
They said you only get the chance to stay here for 3 days, but you have to go. And then in 2014, after 2 or 3 days, I fled to Turkey with my family. And we stayed for 10 months in Turkey. After that, I came to Germany. Then I filed for asylum, and after 7 months I had a paper that I was to be deported to my home. Then with someone I knew, I found a lawyer and asked him, and he said, unfortunately you have no chance, because you're coming from that country, you only have a 10% chance to stay here. He was also mad and sad, but he said it's only 10%. And then one person I knew from Youth League Rebel, they also fought for me. We found another lawyer in 2017. I got the permission to stay. In 2017, and then I found work in a small workshop. I worked for a year, and one colleague was a racist and always attacked me. And that was the first job for me. I worked there for 1 year, then the contract ended. Then I found other work, also in a workshop. And I've been working there ever since, and it's okay. Yeah, thank you to Rebel and MLPD. They helped me a lot. Thank you. And we are strong together. The situation for the refugees or those who fled is really a catastrophe, because they are subordinated to this bureaucracy. Nothing happens. You get an appointment that takes 6 to 8 months. Then you come there, and then they say, "Oh, that paper is missing." Then you go away. You get another appointment. It takes the same amount of time, and then they ask for papers. For example, if someone wants to marry or to register himself, these papers do not exist. They do exist for us because everything is bureaucratically in order, but they don't exist for those who fled. One point is they don't exist in their home countries, and then they cannot go to the embassy of a government that they just fled from and get some birth certificate or whatever from them. And partially, if you imagine, we would want to accept the people, help them to learn German quickly, to find a job, to make an apprenticeship, I think this wouldn't be a problem. But in this case, this reactionary refugees policy of the federal government has a complete effect, and I think the employees of the immigration authority need to be criticized too, because they are really very bureaucratic and sometimes very arrogant, but they implement the policy of Seehofer, of the government. And This is what they have to be clear about. They could take another decision. They could say, we fight against this, we won't take it, that our work has such a reactionary orientation. I would also like to speak on that. It's not only in the immigration authority, also in the city hall. If you want to register, it takes 1 or 2 months and you need to do it online. And online is so bad for us. Everyone says it's easy to write an email, but many people can't do that. And second thing with the immigration authority, 90% of the Syrians are sent to the Syrian embassy to file for a passport, and for one person this costs 800 euros, and most of these people live from Hartz IV. And secondly, the Syrian regime is supported with this money. They are deporting weapons and this money, and then people are killed with the support from here. There's been war since 2015. We always said, stop dealing with arms.
That's an immigration, they have decided to take a fight against the African women in Germany, against the black German children. So we are not relenting. We are also fighting. We are here to fight until you give us our rights.
Bremen, respect the right of black children. Do you want us to continue fighting like our forefathers did? They are gone and we are still here fighting. Yes. And our children will come and fight? That's not what we want. We come to Bremen. We move like you move to Africa. Why is it difficult that we come here and then you make life hell for us, and then you can go to Africa or anywhere in the world, and then you will live peacefully? Nobody will deprive you of your life.
You've told us to bring all the requirements that you want, we have brought to your office. Some of us were never married. You have refused to listen. We have brought you proofs. Those who are married have brought their dissolution of marriages. You have refused them. You are telling someone to bring divorce papers. When they bring, you tell them, go and bring marriage certificate. Seriously?
Is that a madness? Is that a madness?
It's madness.
It's my country's passport. Why will you reject my country's passport? I bring my country passport to you and you say it's fake, and you say you want to investigate my country passport. Is that not madness? Is that not crazy? How can I bring my country passport? I'm a black, does not mean I don't know my rights. If I present a German passport anywhere, they will accept it.
Hallo, ich bin Ulla Serwey vom Internationalistischen Bündnis.
Hello, I'm Ulla Serwey from the Internationalist Alliance. I was one of the brigadists who built together with ICOR a health center in Kobane. 14,000 babies have been born there so far. It was a really good contribution for international solidarity, for overcoming
causes for flight.
When we're talking about streams of refugees, of the right to live the life of refugees, then we also have to talk about the causes of flight and who causes them. And it's the imperialistic world system that causes crisis more and more and forces people to flee. All big imperialist countries are exploiting other countries, and international monopolies, companies are fighting in competition for a world-dominating role and do everything to gain this maximum profit. Destroy everything. Millions of existences are destroyed. Wars are forcing people to flee, and there are more factors coming into environmental crisis and regional environmental catastrophes. There are estimates that 2040 there will be millions of people who have to flee from environmental crisis. And this list could be continued for a long time, but I want to express another point. The crisis management of the imperialists in this corona pandemic. Everyone in Germany already knows how difficult it is to get treatment. But what is the situation in Africa or Asia? They might only get vaccination in 2024. Also here in Germany, refugees are excluded from these vaccinations. So I mean, if we want to fight against the causes of flight, then we have to fight against imperialism. So let us move closer together across national borders to fight this anti-human policy of the EU and the whole imperialistic system. Good evening to all of you. I am Fleur. I have been living in Germany for 2 years, and after 1 year the Germans sent me a letter that I have the right to stay in Germany. But after 1.5 years they sent another letter that they take away this right to stay in Germany. And I don't know why. But after that they sent another letter to my lawyer because they searched my Facebook account. They went into my private life. They tagged my telephone. They followed me on Instagram. They knew about everything I did in Germany. Thanks to Solidarity, thanks to Courage, and thanks to the lawyer and all the people that stood beside me, we were successful to gain the right back they once gave me. And now I again have the permission to stay in Germany. Thank you all the Solidarity. Thank you to all those who have stood beside me, who participated and who fought for me so I can stay in Germany. Sisters and brothers, don't lose your courage. We are one family and we will go on fighting for our rights here in Germany. Thank you very much. Salut, salut. I am Grace. I have been in Germany for 2 years, and that was not easy at all. After 8 months in Germany, I was tolerated in this territory, but after that they wanted to deport me. Fortunately, thanks to the Freundeskreis, Alassa, and Solidarity International and Courage, which I fortunately had met, they have helped me a lot. Also my lawyer, and I want to thank him and all of them because they helped me a lot. Because of them, I was stressed out. It all went over my head and I didn't know what to do anymore. And the police came after me, took me and to deport me, but fortunately it didn't happen. And at this place I want to thank the Freundeskreis Alassa because, to be honest, because of them I'm still in Germany. And I also want to thank my lawyer, Solidarity International and Courage. I thank all of you because you are the best. I'm Nori Geld from the Women's League Courage. From Women's League Courage, we condemn the federal government for the anti-human refugee policy. We are fighting together with female refugees for their right to stay, and we experienced how in a bad condition they are when they arrive in Germany. They are often traumatized on their flight. They have witnessed violence, sexual assault, wars, and a lot of loss. And then they come here and hope that there is security here, but instead they can't stay here and they don't get medical and psychological treatment. So They always don't know what is happening next. Will I be deported? Can I stay here? What is going to happen next? So for one woman I know from here in Tübingen, she was simply taken from her shelter and set into a bus to Italy without any explanation. And the women also ask themselves, is it dangerous to go to the authorities? Will the police be there and take me with them? That has often happened as well. And especially women and the children are experiencing sexual assaults in the shelters, and this situation is deepening the traumatization and makes sick. The shelters are inhumane. They don't have sanitary conditions, and the corona pandemic has worsened the situation. For example, at the beginning, the women were sent into quarantine and were not well cared for in their small rooms. But in the meantime, Tübingen has a lot of tests, thanks to the leader of the Tübingen doctors, and we have also the support of a good lawyer and the public. We have enforced that our 2 women, Fleur and Sandrine, are not deported, but their asylum procedure is taken up here in Germany, and we are fighting that all on anti-fascist foundation come together to fight this. Flight is
get the right of asylum.
Get the right of asylum. Flight is a worldwide topic, so we are preparing the next World Women's Conference, and we don't know when or where it can take place because of the corona pandemic, but the topic of refugees and female refugees will also be a topic there, and we are fighting for the right to stay for people worldwide.
Weise, wie etwa zum Beispiel über die Corona-Situation gesprochen wird. Das heißt, die Folgen, die
I think there's an enormous discrepancy on how is speaking about the effects of the corona pandemics about the children here and the homeschooling and their loneliness. On the one hand, this is played out very much in the media. On the other hand, the situation in Moria or at the Bosnian border, the situation there, hundreds of children. There are also children like ours, living in the dirt, in tents, in this cold, in rain. Water comes into the tents, and this has been accepted. This just doesn't fit. They are people just like us, human beings with the same rights, with the same expectation. They have a life in front of them, and they want to be able to live this in a reasonable way. Warmest and greetings of solidarity to everyone. My name is Jordanis Georgio. I'm co-initiator of the Solidarity Pact. In the meantime, more than 80 million people in the world are fleeing from hunger, imperialist wars, oppression, and environmental catastrophes. They leave their home, their families, everything they love, because they can't and live there anymore, and they don't want to live there anymore. No mother would send her child in such a death threat if she would have another choice. In front of our eyes, thousands of people live in inhuman camps without dignity. People and children are drowning in the Aegean Sea. It's the biggest mass grave in Europe now, in the 21st century. Thousands are drowning. The refugees in the camp Karatepe are freezing. In Lipa, in Bosnia, they are freezing, they are starving. Instead of taking on the refugees in Europe after the fire in Moria, they are being put into a former military ground, even though they know that the soil is poisoned. Children are playing with parts of rockets, of grenades. The Frontex illegally pushes back refugees into the Aegean Sea. This violates law. because they deny every right for these refugees. Also, the Turkish police was part of that, and the EU is to blame for this. The refugees are being hunted by reactionary and fascist groups. In Athens, there is a hound after them. The Greek police just watches it. Beate Glinda, representative of the EU Commission, and the Greek Minister for Refugee Affairs, Mitsotakis, do not think this situation is bad, and they think it's good. Yesterday, Mitterrand visited the camp and said for him it's not a big problem if the refugees live in tents and have to sleep there with 0 degrees. The refugees invited these people to spend some days with them. This criminal refugees policy. The EU and the Greek government has to take responsibility for that. No, they are responsible. And this criminal policy needs to be taken to render account and need to be judged on. Thank you. The big psychologist Arno Green once wrote, dreams can be more threatening for so-called pragmatists. And Nazim Hikmet wrote in prison, living like a tree, single and free, brotherly amongst the forest. This is our dream. And Welke wrote, the person who does not swear to any flag is the biggest one. And because he owns the whole world. Stopped being just a part, he's now part of the entire world. And I allow myself to also be part of this.
Ich habe einen Traum, wir öffnen die Grenzen und lassen alle herein. Alle die
I have a dream. We open the borders and let everyone in who flees from war and murder. We accept them in our house. They eat from our bread. They tell us, we tell them, and we share the misery. We share everything we have because poor people like to share and the rich people are sadly watching this because they don't know how to give. We share and give. And what we obtain is so much more, and it gives us courage. Their children will be ours. No color, no fence, no inhuman ideology separates us from the stream. Maybe it will be close. We get together, drown the weapons in the sea. We sing and dance. We've always thought we know, but we didn't want to know. What we have, too much, others are lacking.
Und die Mörderbanden aller Armeen, Gottgesandt oder Nationalisten, erwärmen sich an unseren Ideen und ahnen, was sie vermissen.
People will warm to our idea. I know it's a bold idea. It's just, people will say it's just too naive and can't be implemented, but I stick with it if everyone dreams this dream. This tender force will renew the world. I have a dream of a world and I won't stop. It's a world without borders, in which I want to live. A world without borders, in which I want to live.
Das war von
That was from Konstantin Wecker, the song I Have a Dream, and Konstantin Wecker sent us this video together with his greetings and said we can play this song. It fits, and it fits for my greetings, and it fits for your tribunal. I have a dream. So thank you very much, Konstantin Wecker, for this cultural contribution, for this cultural highlight in our tribunal. And now we have a mountain of comments and also some questions which will be read to us soon. But in between, I want to give an answer to one question that aroused: where is Alassa? Alassa Mufapon has not disappeared, but you've heard that he's in a training as media designer, and he wanted only shortly to be on this podium, and he's mainly a technical director of all this. So thank you very much and good luck with your training. And that is why he's not on the panel anymore. Now we go on with the questions and comments we received via email. Jordanis Georgiou, one of the organizers of Solidarity International and the people and refugees of Lesbos, is writing: on the evening of the 17th February, people, Mitarakis has visited the camp, have come up with posters with puppets of the inhabitants who are freezing in the camps. And there it was written, 2,000 children are freezing. They want to have these children placed somewhere else. Christus is crucified once again. The workers who work in the camp of Karatepe address the public. It is not unbearable, the miserable conditions of refugees and migrants are enduring but are also increasing. Babies and small children, the elderly, or other groups that are freezing and are exposed to the extreme cold. And these pictures are not to become our norm. So in every form we express our solidarity with the refugees and the migrants and demand direct measures to protect them from the cold, and special treatment for pregnant women, older people and children. No camp, no concentration camp, closed or open on this island.
Let people free from
Let people be free from that. Dear Alassa, dear activists from the Freundeskreis Refugee Solidarity, we congratulate for the victory on the trial and wish us all a long breath for this further fight. from the Solidarity group of Tübingen and Reutlingen. Ferit.
So is the solidarity of the population with the people who fled to Sarajevo and Bosnia and elsewhere? Greetings, Farsi. From ICOR, congratulations on the success in the court trial and on this tribunal. The history of Al-Assa and all refugees shows how urgently necessary it is that we fight worldwide together. Also for that, the international anti-imperialist and anti-fascist United Front is going to soon present themselves publicly and ask for many people to join it. Petra Sauter, moving and courageous witness statements. They show how many reasons for flight the imperialist system creates today. An impressive tribunal. Congratulations. Greetings of solidarity from Cologne. Ferienpark Thüringer Wald, where the House of Solidarity stands. For some time in the Immigration Authority Sonneberg, something changed. Refugees and supporters started a collection of signatures against that. We want to show this as an example how your protest combines with ours in the call for the signatory collection and an open letter to the authorities in that city, and also of the parties, the left, FDP, Greens, the CDU, SPD. We say we are not people of a second class. We are not criminals. We determinedly protest against the treatment without dignity, against all the bullying by the immigration authority in Sonneberg. More and more of our refugees make the experience of an inhuman and discriminating treatment by the immigration authority of the Landkreis Sonneberg. With short time permissions, our basic protection is taken away. We only get very short prolongments of our work permits, or even we are banned from working, even though we've been working in Sonneberg for years. Until 1 year ago, we had very positive experience with the immigration authorities there. The colleagues were human, helpful and friendly. Unfortunately, with the new people responsible and the authorities has turned into the opposite. The way how they treat us and this indignified treatment, we won't take it anymore. We are not people of a second class. We are citizens of Sonneberg. We deserve respect like everyone. Adelheid Gruber writes, today I found out something very nice. Stand By Me Lesbos reports that the inhabitants of Lesbos want to open their houses and ask the government to open churches and public in venues to especially protect children of Karatepe from the cold. Peter Weisfenning writes, the catastrophic situation in the refugees camps of Europe is consciously stirred. The allegedly so humanitarian EU wants to deter people and, of course, isolate themselves. Frontex is bringing more and more people into the open sea. This refugees policy shows the inhuman face of the imperialist system. We need to fight for our equality. Solidarity is the feeling that shows the observation of the human rights the best. Lucas from Angola in Gelsenkirchen. Käthe from the environmental group in Stuttgart of MLPD. 1 year ago, the Human Rights Authority of the UN decided that also climate refugees have a right of asylum if they if their life is threatened. But the German government says there are no climate refugees for us. Seehofer is against that. 80 million people are fleeing from economic crisis, war, environmental catastrophes and persecution. Most of them try to get around in their neighboring countries, but that can change quickly. So an international convention must be fought for on the acceptance and distribution of refugees. But to fight against causes for refugee for us means to jointly stand against the main people responsible for the threatening environmental catastrophe, the big corporations and the international finance capital. Warm greetings of solidarity from the regional group of Freundeskreis East. Thank you for this wonderful event. On 17 February, also in Leipzig, we had a successful protest activity. Most impressive was the proud and the grown confidence of the Freundeskreis. We have another indictment, the endless bureaucracy that refugees are treated with. One of our refugees says they hit us with papers. That's also something that we need to attack. It makes people crazy. United we stand, divided we fall. Warmest greetings from the East, from the world East. Warmest greetings to your Tribunal 2.0 from Schwäbisch Hall. Today we had an activity on the refugees' solidarity. Solidarity International called for it and conducted it with several allies. At the open microphone there were manifold contributions also on the encouraging court trial of Al-Assad. Solidarity was overwhelming. In 2 hours, 1,100 euros were collected. There were encouraging participation and applications for membership in Solidarity International.
Ulrike Held from Women's League Courage. Today we have our 30th anniversary celebrated with a huge rally. International solidarity worldwide is at our hearts. We are fighting together with the female refugees and their families for their right to stay. We are outraged about the reports of the African babies in Bremen. Even when they are born in Germany, they are not registered. That means that the mothers don't get any passport for their babies, no money and no medical treatment. Practically, they don't exist for the city's bureaucracy. On our rally, we decided to give a part of our donations to these courageous women, African women. Congratulations to this tribunal and to Al-Assad. Warm greetings, Ulrike Held from the Women's League Courage. From Antonia Papadio, a wonderful poem. Hello, good evening. First of all, for me also congratulations. Concerning the question of fear, I wanted to say that you have answered that very well. To think of the things the refugees have experienced already, which hurdles they have overcome, that gives us power. And it's also important to see that the most important step is to organize, to fight together for protection, to fight together with others to share your sorrows and suffering. And you have to see that there are also workers and youth in Germany that are fighting for their rights against the government, against the companies. They organize in women's leagues, in unions, in revolutionary parties. That strengthens the refugees and the others. So the ruling powers are afraid of the uniting of all oppressed and exploited. I wish you a lot of success. Nurhan from the MLPD. SE Stuttgart. 1969 till 1997, our
1996 to 1997
has organized our first tribunal
against the Mobutu regime. A whole number of refugees from that country, especially in Stuttgart, made statements how Mobutu gave the order to kill people without weapons. They reported how they were abused in their country, with help for prisoners, with they demanded democratic rights, and they helped people, and that's why they had to flee. In Germany, they were active against the dictatorship in their country, but that the refugees joined forces, how they do now in the Freundeskreis, this has never happened before. Thank you for organizing the Tribunal 2.0 SI Stuttgart, Elisabeth. Elsbeth. I've got two more questions. One, police officers can raise concern about the order that they have to raid the Lea. Did that happen? If yes, how did the leadership of the police deal with this comments? Secondly, did the Bild newspaper apologize for their wrong statement? Were there any consequences for them? Thank you for this important, interesting, and also moving comments. At the end, there were two questions. I think they can be answered best by our lawyer, Frank Jasensky. Frank, what do you say on these questions? Yeah, briefly on that, we know from the police files that even under higher officials, there were concerns whether this action on 3rd May was just lawful. The minister and the police management just ignored that, and they said, we can do it. And that, yeah, then it was done like that. As a rule, these things are really not being picked up. It's not the style of Bild newspaper to apologize for anything, so they did not. But at least when they lost the court trial, they had to pay our costs, and I think this is where you can hit that Bild newspaper at best. Thank you for the clear answer. I think the most vulnerable point of Bild newspaper is if they suffer defeats, and that from a refugee called Alassa M. Which on page 1 in one issue they named a social traitor, illegal leader of the pack or whatever. But on page 1 in a slender campaign, and we have to say that some reporter from the Bild newspaper really sneaked into Alassa's trust. She sent him a text saying, "Hello, I'm this and that. Just by coincidence, I'm quite close to you at the gas station. Come over. I'm so excited to hear about you," and was acting as if she would be interested. And Alassa, in his honesty and in his trust, reported her. And then it was a Bild newspaper journalist, and in the next issue she just tried to destroy him. And we need to also remember this: we need trust amongst each other, but we need to be highly vigilant in front of these media and also the secret services who persecute the refugees, but also the activists and people who support this. The whole rightward development stands against this democratic movement, and this is our strength, our solidarity, our organization, our cohesion. Before we come to the next contributions, I have a good news of our interpreters, that later in the evening the entire live stream will also be published in French, and maybe even in Arabian language, and it will go online. That, of course, is a great thing. Today we have our experiment with the simultaneous translation into English, which is wonderfully working. But of course, every time we had a step forward and were successful, we take 2 more steps. Thank you. Now we continue with contributions or reports that were sent in written form from Karatepe and other places.
A recent message from Karatepe. From Stand By Me in Lesbos. The temperatures at night are almost below zero, and there is still no heating in the tents, of which many are summer tents. There are not generators in Athens, but there are hundreds. But here on the island, only 1,000. Only those in Athens have 3,500 watt. Here it's only 1,000, and the local electricity is not coping with them. It's really difficult to get contracts with the local electricity offers. So we have to buy a lot of lorries with tanks of water because we don't get the water from the taps. And it needs a lot of generators to electrify 1,000 watt heating, and we also need more electricity, and we still don't have such a generator because it's very complicated. Obviously very complicated to get such a generator within 3 months. So we only have 3 small generators in the camp with below 1,000, with in total 3,000 kilowatt an hour. Welcome to Europe.
That's why people have to freeze.
We have received a lot of donations from people who would also be glad if our situation would be better.
So we support the homes for elderly in Lesbos too. 2 more bad news. This morning 2 tents were burned down. They are very close together, much closer than the regulation of the UNHCR says. With open fire and not working heating, this danger gets bigger and bigger. Nobody was injured, but one family again lost everything, and every day we are so afraid of another big fire. In the evening, at a steep and not approachable coast southwest of Kagera on Lesbos, 25 refugees are stranded in a boat. 1 man died from the cold. He froze on the sea. Many members of our teams come from Deir ez-Zor in Syria. It was a beautiful city and we love it. After people started demonstrating against Assad, it became a place of war and terror. First by the Syrian army and then by IS. We all remember those dark, terrible times, and this is a very good testimony.
This was our line. Many of us saw this terror and brutality with our own eyes, and we will never forget it. Today my feelings about those dark times are confused. I still get flashbacks of the horror we experienced. Our lives were changed forever. They wanted to dictate what we did, how we dressed. The IS closed the schools and prevented our children from learning and took control of young people's lives. Some teachers risked their lives that our children were not poisoned by their ideas.
And secretly taught the old teaching plans.
We have found ways to do things our way, and however hard it seemed, we still had a window for hope. Once I saw how ISIS members were taking away 2 women in the market, beating and insulting them for wearing clothes with a hint of color. I felt so helpless at that moment. The next day I was back at the market and had to uncover my eyes for a moment. They saw me and started insulting me with the worst words. It was not easy to stop myself from shouting back. My body was shaking. But I had to think about my children and my family. I didn't want to cause trouble for anyone. My mother was one of the few people who would stand up and continue to stand up without fear against IS fighters. She impressed everyone with her courage and strength. She refused to cover her face, and wherever the IS fighters tried to call her names, she would yell back, And then, strangely, they would start avoiding her. My mother was the strongest woman I knew, and she never wore face covering. We were always trying to find ways to get around the IS laws. When they started hanging people out in public and left their bodies hanging for days, they sometimes insisted that the victim's family attend the execution. The horror and pain that we saw with our own eyes are unbearable. I had hoped to erase those memories, but they still haunt my dreams. Mike Schöpping. I testify against the EU, its member states, their violation of human rights and crimes against humanity, against refugees in greatest need, and against the Geneva Refugee Convention, as well as against applicable international maritime law. I testify against the unhuman situation in the camps of Moria, Karatepe, and other camps in Europe, like Lampedusa. During my stay, also the recent Pope was there in Karatepe and called this camp a concentration camp. As an employee of an NGO, I was also present when, in a dilemma, it was decided that we stop our work as one of the last NGOs in Karatepe because we didn't want to serve the EU's policy as an NGO and so become a part of their policy. In 2017, I was on the M7 in the Libyan Sea, and in days we rescued over 3,000 people in distress in sea, and I was a witness how the Libyan Coast Guard, who received money with over 40 million of the EU, took mortars of boat against payment, and this and the Italian Secret Service also smuggled in their members on the boats, and they tagged the bridge of the boat to convict them because of smuggling. And since then the Juventa and other rescue ships were seized, and the crew were accused despite not having any proof. The EU,
the federal government still does not protect their citizens against the Italian state. I've seen in Moria
9-year-old children trying to kill themselves from misery, children who sleepwalk into the sea at night and drawn unseen, as well as right now in Lipa, people in the new EU camp Karatepe are freezing in flooded, unheated and unprotected mast tents. I've seen many people on board of our so-called shuttle service, according to former president of the Constitutional Protection Office Maaßen, who did not even carry their own skin on their body. On Lesbos, I've seen such big mountains of used life jackets that whole roads led through them. Such roads lead Europe into a very dark future and back again into its own dark historical past.
Liebe Freunde der Solidarität, ich bin Isaiah.
Dear friends of Solidarity, I'm Isaiah Iraoui. In an anti-racist activity where refugees and non-refugees stand in for solidarity, for city of solidarity where everyone have the same rights. I send you greetings of solidarity. I wish you a lot of courage and strength to struggle for democratic rights, against deportation, against racism, against racist police violence, against the lies that are spread in parts of the media against us, and against deportation, against inhumanity, to be forced to live in camps, whether it's here or in the inhuman EU external borders, like in Lipa in Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Karatepe, the camps in Libya, and countless more. This suffering has to stop, and the politics that enables this must determinedly be fought against. Also, the senseless dying on the Mediterranean must be ended, where so many people lose their life fleeing from the ruthless EU border protection. We resist this organized inhumanity where the deadly racist deterring policy with our freedom and solidarity. So we are full of admiration for the fight against deportation and the acts of solidarity with which we did not accept in 2018 this deportation in night. Exclusion of people that flee from wars, human rights violation, poverty and hunger, or are just looking for a different life. We demand the end of this racist policy, because it's clear what living in so-called refugee homes means. Surveillance, loss of control, bad food without the freedom to cook yourself, control by security officers and the camp administration, bad and very narrow living conditions without privacy, insufficient health care, which has worsened by the corona pandemic, leaving many inhabitants of camps without protection from the corona infection. The time in the camps is lost life, especially for the children who are not allowed to go into kindergarten or in schools, but also for grown-ups. It's a misery to wait for the start of a perspective with learning the language and a job, always in fear of deportation. This inhuman machinery must end. We demand the closure of the camps and instead approach of education and work, regular homes, equal medical care, equal rights for everyone, for a world without borders, but with not restricted freedom to move, for a world without camps and shelters and everything, for a world without exploitation, racism and violence, where everyone can live together on equal level and free. Nobody is illegal. We fight for this together. Warmest greetings, Jesaja Eraui. Last contribution came from Jesaja. Jesaja was the only witness that was accepted at the court trial of Al-Assa in Stuttgart 2 days ago. Jesaja is also one of the federal speakers of the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität. First 3 contributions in this block were contributions from Karatepe. I would like to use the opportunity to send warmest greetings to Karatepe, to our friends Michalis, to Shirin, to Thomas, and especially to all the teams of the self-organization. Here in the media, they always portray it as if the savers, the protectors also only come from NGOs. If the press interviews people in the German TV, we only hear representatives of NGOs, of Solidarity International. From Solidarity International, over 3 weeks, almost every second day, we send in original reports from refugees, from self-organized activists to the press. Would you think a single media house would have relied on these reports and these authentic statements? Not one. There were a bit of interest and some questions came in, but not a single one of these direct reports were published. Even though, especially the white helmets, the electricians collectives, the teachers, the Czech teachers who teach children on a mass scale to play chess, and they organized the life. You want conditions like in Lipa, without every organization, without basic care. What this self-organization accomplishes is every day to clean the camp, health education, power as far as possible, lessons. And this is an incredible achievement, and it's not being acknowledged, and we protest against that, but you are part of our hearts, and so we are greeting you from our tribunal warmly, because we think this self-organization and also the cooperation with you needs to be furthered, and we have a basic foundation that can be a substance and give hope over the borders of Karatepe and into the world. Now we have a block of videos that we play in this occasion. I'd like to say that we won't be finished until 8 o'clock. You already heard that we had much more contributions as we planned. Of course, at home you could take a short break, but we don't want to deprive you of everything that we obtained. But I think at 8:30 or 8:45 we will be finished with all the contributions, just for you to know how this will continue. Now play the video with the next witness statements that we had.
جدید کاراتاپه اینجا در چند روز میشه که وضعیت آب و هوا بسیار سرد شده. قسمی که همگی شما در جریان هستین و همونطور که خبر هستین وضعیت کمپ هم زیاد خوب نیست، برق نیست، مثلا خیمه خیلی سرد است، یک حمام درست صحیح نیست، تشنابات درست نیست و وضعیت کمپ بسیار آشفته است. اگر میاله بیشتر خیمه ها که اصلا برق ندارن، برقاشون خراب است و در طول شب که هوا بسیار سرد میشن بعضی خانواده ها دچار مشکل میشن و مثلا خانواده هایی که بیشتر بچه های خرد دارن یا خانم های حامل هستن یا کسایی هستن که اشخاص آسیب پذیر هستن، مریضی دارن، اینا خیلی به مشکل برمیخورن چون برق ندارن. بخاری هم وقتی که برق نباشه از بخاری هم استفاده کرده نمیتونن. بیشتر خانواده ها بخاری هم ندارن، چرا که از داخل دروازه کمپ بخاری را اجازه نمیده که داخل کمپ بیارن و به خاطر مشکلات مردم بسیار زیاد هستند.
Ich finde die Aktion vom Freundeskreis Al-Assad.
I think the activities of the Freundeskreis Al-Assad very good. Also Al-Assad personally, he was here in our house and we talked together, and his friend Isaiah. And this activity that Al-Assad sues everything concerning the whole action that they stormed them at night and all the deportation practices in Germany, it's not only unlawful and it's a shame for a state like Germany. It's a psychological torture for the refugees and puts them under permanent stress and pressure. And I hope it's successful, that the Freundeskreis and Al-Assad are successful, and this is made clear by the court that they have rights too, and that these deportations are inhumane and a shame to the state of Germany, a constitutional state like Germany. I'm a refugee from Africa. Since 2015 I have been in Germany, and I'm doing a training since 2017 as a carpenter, and I also have a child. And since that day, and so very often the immigration authorities, they really got on my nerves. They sent letters that I have to leave, and one day they came. So at night, at 5 o'clock in the morning, in the night, they told me that I have to come with them because they want to deport me, despite I was being in the training. Apprenticeship. And after that, I showed them all the papers I had as a testimony that I'm in the apprenticeship and that I have a child. And nevertheless, they didn't care. They simply said I have to come with them. And fortunately, I had the idea to flee across the roof of our house. And from there, I went to the police together with my employer. And at the police, they said that they don't have a warrant against me. So we went to we called the authorities, immigration authorities.
They also said they didn't.
They didn't have any notice that they have for my deportation. So I said that was the immigration authorities, and until today I didn't get an apology. And until this day, I'm fighting for my right to stay. I'm working here. I'm doing my apprenticeship. I do everything they want.
I've been here 5 years.
I've been here for 5 years, but I don't get a right to stay because I'm from Africa.
It's a short story of my life here in Germany as an immigrant. I've been in Germany for the past, I think, going to a year now, and I'm on the asylum procedure for the past 10 months. About 2 months ago, we had a situation here where one of the staff was tested to this COVID-19 positive, and then all the immigrants in this camp, we were isolated they told us we were going to be isolated for 2 weeks because they came to test all of us, and we were told that we tested negative. None of us has it, and then we were free to go out again, and they refused to give us the test results. That is not a problem. This is the room. This is the room. And they said we are in an isolation center. We are still in this room. Now, this is the toilet. This is the toilet we are using, and it's a public toilet everyone is using. With these people, we use the same toilet, the same wash hand basin. What is our fate? So as you can see, I really don't understand how they are treating human. I don't know. I'm just doing this because we have been told that by tomorrow we are going to go for the test. So I don't know what will be the outcome of the test. But until then, whatever comes the outcome, I will still put it on the video for the world to see how human are being treated as an immigrant because they have no say, because they can't speak for themselves, because they can't say this is not right and this is right. I think this is really against human rights.
Mon nom c'est Aurélien Alfred Nké. Mon pays, là où je viens de Congo-Brazzaville. Et je peux vous avouer que la majorité des pays d'Afrique,
I have to admit, most of the countries in Africa, if we explain to you what happens in Africa, you won't believe it. What we experience, what I experienced in my country. To get here as a refugee, to file for asylum, this is not by chance or because you want to get here. I wanted to stay in my country because I love my country. There's no freedom in my country. In Congo we have a president, Brazzaville we have a president. He's doing incredible things. Maria Velish, he has a plan called Moyeba. It's his mother's name. To really destroy the people in the south, to make them vanish. I'm from the region Pool. This is the region with the most dense population, and it's close to Brazzaville, the political capital. This president committed genocide in my area because he wants to completely delete my country, of my people in that region. A third of the people were already killed because there was a genocide where I live. Children, families from the houses, they were burnt in their houses with women and children. That's what happened. My father was one of these victims that lost their lives, and that made me take up arms to take revenge for my father's death and to protect my people. So I was combating for my people and the former fighters. We're in DGS. This is an institution to guarantee security, and if there is persecution, we're the first ones who are persecuted, and this is why I love my country.
So tell me, when did you leave Afghanistan? When did you start this? What year?
I started the 1 year before I started. The first time coming in Iran, and then after 1 week in Turkey, and after 2 weeks I was coming in Greece, Lesbos, Iceland, and then I'm coming. Thessaloniki, and then, Albania, Montenegro, and now in Bosnia.
How long have you been in Bosnia?
1 month.
1 month.
Yes.
Okay. And you live in a camp?
Yes.
In Sarajevo?
Yeah.
How are the conditions in the camp?
It's good, but little, because a lot of people. The weather is very cold. Because of that, we are staying here.
Can you tell me why did you decide to go from Afghanistan?
Because I'm artist, but my family doesn't want me because problem because of that.
Okay. And you took this road alone?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you try to cross to Croatia?
No.
Or to Slovenia? No, not yet.
I've tried, yeah.
Can you compare a bit how it was in Greece and how it is in Bosnia?
Yeah, and it's good in Bosnia, also in Greece. It's little, but the police occasion attack. Bosnia is good.
Where do you want to go in Europe? Which country?
I will go, inshallah, in Germany.
In Germany?
Yes.
Okay. And what would you like to do in Germany? Because I know you draw.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. Study drawing. Yes.
You would like to study?
Yes.
Okay. I hope you will make it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, can you tell us what is your name?
My name is Mustafa.
Where are you from?
I'm from Morocco.
And when did you start your traveling
My traveling started in last 2 years in 2019. It's in February to Turkey, and I stayed for a few months in Turkey. Then I get to Greece, and from Greece to Albania, Montenegro, and Bosnia.
And when did you arrive to Bosnia?
I arrived to Bosnia in last in 2019. 2019 October.
What are the conditions for migrants in Sarajevo and Bosnia and Herzegovina?
In general, the conditions are not good because we still have some, material problems, psychological problems. When you go to the trip and you come back, they push you back from Croatia without papers, without money, without nothing. So you get suffer, in Bosnia. Wherever some organization offering help to us, they are doing the best, but I think that's not enough, because not only the material side, it is the psychological side. It is nobody mentioning, That's very hard.
And what is your destination? Where would you like to go?
I would like to go to Spain. Actually, the place where I will have a better future, better conditions, better life, conditions of life, better situation. I would like to stay whenever, Spain or France. But I think in Spain, because in Spain I can get people easier than other countries.
Say it loud, say it clear. Refugees are welcome here.
Mein Name ist Dieter Reicherter. Ich habe in unserem Staat jahrzehntelang als Staatsanwalt und Richter für...
My name is Dieter Reicherter. I've worked for decades as a prosecutor and judge for law and justice in our state. Unfortunately, many things have changed over time, and also in our country, human rights are disregarded and refugees are fought against instead of the causes of light. The blockade of sea rescue in the Mediterranean is not only shameful, but a crime against humanity and a betrayal of our Christian values. The lacking solidarity with the people in the third world countries in times of Corona is outrageous. Denying them vaccines is a scandal. Corona outbreaks in refugee shelters in our countries are also an obvious disregard of law and justice in our country. From all these deplorable conditions, it is only a short step to the brutal police operation in the Lea Ellwangen. As a victim of the Black Thursday in the Schlossgarten in Stuttgart, I can somewhat imagine what the ruthless intrusion of the police squads meant for the traumatized residents. Our Interior Minister was pleased with the show of force, but citizens were ashamed of it. No wonder that state violence persecutes those Democrats who raise their voices. How good that a prosecutor against arbitrariness has been found. Al-Assad did not let himself be intimidated by Nazis. Quite a few media reported and participated in the trial. Al-Assad and his lawyer understood to illuminate the issues and to call for the compliance of law and justice, especially for refugees, in the very detailed court hearing. No matter what the decision will be, the lawsuit was important. One way or another, it will probably lead to the necessary clarification of whether the inviolability of home also applies to refugees in a state facility. For this alone, the fight was worthwhile. Even more important, it is for those in power, however, is the experience of having to justify for attacks, and that is good for democracy and a constitutional state. Dear refugees, the road foxes from Dortmund have painted a poster and, for example, made it a topic on the 1st of May to prevent that you refugees are deported from Germany. But unfortunately, it is happening to a lot of refugees in Germany because the government in Germany doesn't want them here. Die Rotfuchse, the red foxes, want that we have closer connections and collaborations, that such things don't happen anymore. And in our song, it is called, what binds us together is the fight for a better world. I am Hiba at Omar, I'm from Iraq. In 2014, an Islamistic group has come to my country, and many people have died and were hurt, and my family as well. And so 2015, I have come to Germany, and I did an interview, and so I got a deportation. They said, your home is safe, there are no problems, but there are so many problems in my home country. Every day there were Turkish planes bombing my country. Every day there are people dying. Yesterday, the day before, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they have thrown bombs at my country. And I also have problems with the Kurdish government, but I'm Kurdish nevertheless. And when I go back to my home, I have to go to prison for 9 years. And that is known to everyone. The police, the city hall, the court, they know. And many people have the same problem. And they tell them Iraq is a secure, safe country. But you can live in Germany as well. I don't have a passport, I can't work, I always have to stay in the refugee shelter together with 5 other people. How is that possible in a room with 5 people? You live like an animal in a home with 5 or 6 people in a small room. That is not a right life. Proper life, and they tell you you have to stay like this in Germany. That's not a nice life. This is not a nice life. No one can live with 5 or 6 people in a refugee home with 100 euros a month, and you are not allowed to work. And you are not allowed to go to another city. Once I went to another city, and then the police came and controlled me. You are not allowed to be here, they said. You're not allowed to go on. So I had to sit 3 or 4 hours at the police station. And many friends, they know about that. That's not possible. In Germany, my freedom, the freedom of religion, they tell you, but I think in Germany my freedom is not respected. You can't live like that. Dear participants of the Tribunal, against the refugee policy of the government and the EU, we send you our solidarity greetings, and we sing the song, All We Want Is Freedom, Long Live International Solidarity.
All we want is freedom, all we want is freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary's freedom. All we want is freedom, all we want is freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary's. Millionen auf der Flucht, durch die Wüste, übers Meer, fremde Länder, ferne Städte, keine keine Zuflucht mehr. Den Weg nach Europa haben viele nicht geschafft. Wir trauern und die Freunde kämpfen weiter mit aller Kraft. All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. Freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary's freedom. All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary's.
Ellwangen in the Swabian land is known everywhere against deportations. We are resisting successfully. The violence of the police is not intimidating us. Solidarity is strong. Join our ranks.
All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary's freedom. All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary.
Statt sich auseinanderzusetzen.
Alassa is back. Happiness, proud, triumph. They are sinking in the Nazi.
All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary's freedom. All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary's. Viele reden über uns, jetzt will.
Everyone speaks about us. Now we are talking. We are refugees, not criminals. Listen, everyone.
Criminals, hört alle her. We are refugees, not criminals. Hört alle her. Gemeinsam gegen Abschiebung und Dublin 3. Wir halten fest zusammen und sind eines Tages frei. All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary's freedom. All we want is freedom. All we want is freedom. Our heart beats like a revolutionary's.
Thank you very much for the song All We Want Is Freedom. The young people of the Youth League River have just sung for us. So, my dear people, we are coming to an end.
To the closing rounds.
To the closing rounds. But there is a whole mountain and commons and also a very important question. Then there are the three last written contributions we received, and then there is the final round here on the plenum and a last beautiful song. So we are happy if you stay with us for some more time, and first of all the opinions, comments that we received. Julia Scheller from Stuttgart, who is co-founder of the Freundeskreis in 2018. Refugees who are involved courageously in this movement are real examples. More and more people do not accept this imperialist world system that always produces more problems of the existence of humans on Earth. But many do not know what to do or think you cannot change anything and you can't get 5 people together. But you refugees are not only fighting for your concrete issues, but for all the oppressed. And that is also the story behind your success. The close cooperations with also other democratic and also revolutionary forces across party lines from religion to revolution. The SE group from Munich has put the aim to strengthen Solidarity International in Munich, and that was a huge success. We distributed the rally among our friends, the refugee organizations Caravane and the Alliance of the 8th of March, and more than 30 people took part in our rally, and some other people who passed by and stayed there. And it was very attractive for younger people, especially. A younger man from Arabian descent came to us and said before he left, "I thank you for you organizing that and that you fight for us as well. Thank you very much." In Heilbronn, they sung the Ode to Freude, Ode to Happiness from Beethoven, because they know it's Alassa's favorite song. Adelheid Grubi, thank you, Annie, for your courage to also talk about your traumatic experience as a woman refugee on your flight.
Shala, EU must feel responsible because their participating members cooperate with open fascist governments. They transport war equipment into war areas. They steal the African resources, and this is why the living conditions worsen there. No one puts their children on a boat unless the water is safer than the land. Sebastian Zumdick. I've always heard the news every day, but I've never heard from these cruelties. So it's important and necessary that you speak out on this. Petra Sauter. EU is a reactionary imperialist state alliance. An unrestricted right for asylum on anti-fascist basis can only be implemented in a joint struggle. My best greetings to the Tribunal from Erlangen, an engineer from Cameroon working in Erlangen as an engineer. Undertook a private visit in Cameroon, and then he was arrested under pretext after almost 2 years of prison hell. With all the solidarity of his colleagues and of family members and of other people, he was liberated. Keep on fighting for your rights. Greetings, Winfried. Dortmund Monday demonstration itself protested together with refugees from Afghanistan against deportation to Afghanistan. Afghanistan is not a secure country. Some Afghan refugees flew from Iran. In Iran, refugees from Afghanistan have no rights and are treated like people of second class. Young men are forced to fight for Iran in Syria. If these refugees are now deported to Afghanistan, they don't know where to go, as their families live in Iran. So it's good if the refugees organize themselves and fight for their rights. We need to jointly protest against the reactionary policy of the government and the EU. Long live international solidarity. The Monday demonstration from the city of Dortmund. Adelheid Gruber writes again, what the Bild newspaper also would not have liked, a broad reaction also into circles of bourgeois media that condemn Bild newspaper. From Annie Jo Josef, watching live from Laubheim. Eric Glass writes, congratulations and thank you for this moving but also encouraging event that calls for more solidarity. Will the stream of this event also be available in German language? I would like to pass it on to many people. From Peter, hey, Amazonia against French.
Amazonia, FKA, UK, Cameroon. Refugees support RORA.
Gabi Fechner als Vorsitzende der MLPD.
Gabi Fechner as chairperson of MPD, I send you greetings from Malassa, congratulations, and also my warmest solidarity to other refugees and all the activists who are working in the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität. The tribunal shows very good how the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität contributed to the refugees organizing themselves. I would like to add that you also contributed to the fact that the mood in Germany after the slender campaigns of media like Bild-Zeitung or politicians like Ströber or Seehofer did not turn against the refugees. And today, even many media had to change their articles. The slogan, "No, we are talking," achieved an emphasis on the society as a whole. The important initiatives that became clear today in the tribunal especially gained strength because and when they link with the struggles in the countries of origin and in the countries in which the people who fled now living link up. Also here we have tens of thousands of workers who were on strike last year. There are young people against anti-communism and racism. They take to the streets. There are revolutionaries and Marxist-Leninists, giving a social perspective to all of these fights and an organization. In many countries of the world, there are crises of society as a whole in which hundreds, thousands, or even millions of people, partially young people, take to the street for the first time for democracy, freedom, or even are fighting for socialism already. On this joint strength and perspective that we are going to reach if the workers of the world ally with those oppressed, long live international solidarity. Hi, I suggest to make a song from this beautiful poem against fear. What do you think? Would someone want to contribute to this? Could you mail me the poem in German and English? Warmest greetings, Nico Gehörwäsche, the band. Yeah, quite some highlights at the end, and actually also a question to Azuma whether your poem could be used to make a song out of it. What do you think? As you're the writer and have the rights on this, the copyrights.
To make it music, but I need somebody to volunteer and future us to produce the music.
Man muss vielleicht erklären.
Maybe we need to explain that the person who asked is Nico from Gehörwäsche, and that is a music band from Cologne. And if he says we would like to turn it into a song, then I'm sure he will be assisting you in doing the song. If so, you do agree.
Agree to do that.
Wunderbar. Dann
Amazing. We have the next climax for the Tribunal 3.0. Then we had a special interest in two elderly persons who spoke very nicely but were not represented correctly. One was the Pastor Baumann from Ellwangen from the church Comboni. He spoke twice, and at the second time he was not introduced, but he was very impressive what he said, and he was one of the closest companions of the refugees in the Lea Ellwangen. The other person was Mr. Reicherter from Stuttgart, a former judge who also surveyed the court case. He was very active in the struggle against Stuttgart 21 and now also actively supports Alassane Forpong and other refugees. So much on these questions. Now the three last contributions that were sent in, they are being read out, and then we have the final round on the panel. There you go.
Kein Moria auf Kanaria.
No Moria in Canaria. A friend often visits relatives on one of the Canary Islands. She reports that the situation has changed dramatically in recent years. Since November 2020 alone, about 11,000 refugees have reached the Canary Islands. The fortress Europe stops the route of the Mediterranean, the Balkans, etc. Frontex and the EU refugee policy forced the refugees on the life-threatening Atlantic route. Hundreds of people have drowned in the floods of the Atlantic Ocean. At the time, about 450 migrants live there. Later, 1,300 places are to be set up. Local refugee workers were not allowed to visit the camp. The refugees hope to get to the Spanish mainland, but they are not allowed to leave the island, even if they can show valid documents. According to the will of the Spanish government, facilities for up to 7,000 people are to be built on the islands. According to the EU plan, arriving refugees should first be parked there. In agreements with the reactionary governments of Morocco and other Maghreb states, the EU is negotiating for their repatriation, as they call it. That is, negotiations with those rulers from whom the people fled. Their oppression and poverty forces them to flee. Actually, they should all fight for a better life in their home country against their corrupt rulers who sell their country to economic and military companies and then hoard their bribe money in Switzerland and elsewhere. This has come at a price. 26 million have been transferred to Morocco so that the border guards can be better equipped. This is part of the total 140 million that the European Commission had promised Morocco for border security. In addition, the European Border Agency, Frontex, in Gran Canaria helps with the identification and processing of applications. The inhabitants of the islands are very worried about this whole development. They do not want a second Moria. In addition, Corona is causing bankruptcies in the tourism industry. TUI and AIDA are raking in millions against it. Reactionary and fascist groups and parties like the Vox try to exploit the situation like the AfD in Germany. They fight the refugees instead of the causes. Disputes or actual criminal acts are blown up like pogroms. That's where the witness statement ends. From the Refugees for Refugees, the following report has arrived. Dear friends, the situation in the Wiesenstraße camp. At the beginning of February, most of the residents of the camp Wiesenstraße were quarantined. COVID-19 infections thus occurred in this camp for at least the third time. In the middle of October 2020, the city of Schorndorf reported the first COVID-19 case in Wiesenstraße. But there is nothing known about changes in the camp. In the middle of January 2021, another COVID-19 case occurred, and again the affected person was moved from the camp to a single room. There are no reports of extensive testing this time. In late January, 6 people tested positive. Now a mass quarantine was ordered. Initially, 70 people were quarantined in the 2 upper floors of the building from the 1st to the 10th of February. In the rooms live up to 5 people of a family or 1 to 2 individuals. The toilets in the buildings are shared. To the kitchen and showers, people have to go through the cold. They are located in containers in front and behind the building. Encounters in the corridors cannot be avoided. A separation between positive people, their contacts, and unaffected people, as required by the Robert Koch Institute, do not really exist. Residents do not feel safe in the camp. After the curfew was imposed, there was no medical care. Even those who tested positive were not seen by a doctor. Thus, possible at-risk individuals could not be identified. The COVID-19 cases in the Wiesenstraße, Schorndorf, in Ellwangen and other shelters prove, just like the figures of the Robert Koch Institute, refugee shelters are corona hotspots. Quotation: one should finally dissolve the collective accommodations for refugees and place people in individual apartments. That would undoubtedly be an effective measure against COVID-19 infections. End of quotation. According to Sigrid Graumann, a member of the Ethic Council, in an interview in the Taz newspaper.
Okay. Es fehlt noch etwas.
Something's missing still with the statement of Thomas. Is it a video? There's a technical problem that the statement does not play. It's another important statement that's missing. The file does not work. We continue trying. It's about an analysis and report on the work of NGOs. It's a report of Thomas Sacken von Osten, who used to be a journalist in Germany, and for many years he's now active in Refugee Solidarität. He also writes articles for Jungle World, and he sent us an important report. It's an audio file, which unfortunately does not work. So we are going to publish it in other ways. We're sorry, Thomas, if you're watching us and waited until you finally come. We think it's a very important research that you did. The core is that up to 3 billion euros of the EU also came to NGOs, and the Greek migration minister explicitly said that the money coming to Greece from EU are passed on to NGOs. And then the money is 3 billion euros for Lesbos. Where did they end up? We got the reports that there's not even showers. There's the so-called bucket showers, where people get a bucket of hot water, and this is the great new thing. Now we have showers. The whole essential care is done in their own initiative, as we already reported from the electricians and so on. The question is, where did this money go to? We also know that different NGOs, and Thomas very detailedly researched that if you read their reports, a big share of that goes into the salaries of the logistics of NGOs and everything. And basically the actual origin, the purpose of all the donators who made these donations, also small donations, just drones somewhere, and only about half of the money really reaches the projects. This is one quintessential result of his research. We are going to publish it, and he also publishes it, and it's very important, and a plea to organize yourself and not to just donate passively. So much for this. Now we come to the final round on the panel. There was also a lot of comments and considerations and proposals. What is the outcome, the conclusions, the judgment of this tribunal? And on this tribunal, from the panel, we thought, also after the comments and proposals, that we need consequences on 3 levels. We need consequences on legal level, consequences in organizing, in cooperating in an organized way, and we need consequences for the whole society. We start with Frank Jasinski, who has draws an important legal consequence that the Freundeskreis decided on, and that we are going to publish in this way. There you go, Frank Jasinski. by the witness statements and the reports from the camps of those who fled. Also, the reports that were held personally here, we have impressive examples for the criminal refugees policy of the EU, their member states, and not least also the Federal Republic of Germany, which in the EU plays a leading role. EU and its constitutional states are responsible for this policy of deterring and isolation, leading to the fact that tens of thousands of refugees have died. Also, children suffer from the most severe physical and psychological problems, also especially in these camps like Lipa or Karatepe. The EU and the Federal Republic of Germany are immediately responsible that every day people who want to flee to Europe die due to the conditions of flight or during the flight, and in the internation camps of the EU suffer from inhuman conditions. The mass grave in the sea is not a catastrophe, but it is an organized crime on a mass scale. For those mainly responsible in the EU and the Federal Republic of Federal Government need to be held responsible for that. We accuse the systematic violation of international human law, like the Geneva Refugee Convention, by the systematic pushbacks, the actions of the EU, Frontex group, everything they try to close the borders down, come together with the fascist state, how they attack with all the reactionary regimes in Africa. Also the reactionary so-called Coast Guard, which is nothing else but a terrorist group. They cooperate with mafia armed groups who, on behalf of the EU, make repressions against refugees and keep them in internation camps in Libya, like Alassa said, where murder, slavery work and rape are a day-to-day business. All this is nothing else than a crime against humanity in the sense of Article 7 of the Constitution of the International Criminal Court. And that's why Monica just said it, on behalf of and together with the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität, in the next week we are going to address the main prosecutor of that court against the German government and the EU because of crimes against humanity. It's urgently needed because all the crimes continue day by day, and it's also necessary to end the systematic dying and the inhuman conditions in the internation camps of the EU. And those responsible are finally held responsible. We are going to hand in that prosecution indictment next week, and I think it's also an important thing to bring all this more into the public, because we cannot accept that the EU and those responsible stop the savings. This is nothing but murder by doing nothing. Sorry, this was the first verdict, the first consequence. We learned that the legal proceedings are very important, but that the decisive power comes from the organized movement. And that's what Anni wants to speak on first, of the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität, and then Azuman. Again, thank you very much for the opportunity that I can express myself. I'd like to thank you, everyone, who hold up the banner for the rights of the migrants and refugees in Germany and all over the world, because it's you who give us hope for today and tomorrow. Generally, I address the women in the world and the women in Germany. The question I ask myself: you've overcome the desert, you've resisted the criminals, those who kidnapped you, you have been beaten down, you chose the danger to die on the Mediterranean, but when you arrive on the land, you are not given human rights and you think you don't have no right. I don't think this is correct. Stand up, rise up, overcome your fear. Join the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität. Together we can fight for victory. One person cannot make this big package, but everyone together can do it. We expect you in the solidarity movement so that we are an example for those who are behind us. And together we can gain victory. Women, let us rise. Let us have the courage to defend what is our right, because nobody will do it instead of us. Thank you.
Refugees or asylum seekers in Germany, we have to stand up and back Alassane to organize every day, every minute, every week, every month, every year, to back up Alassane to fight against this deportation. Solidarity we stand together. Together we stand. Divided we fall. So we need to stand up and fight. Thank you.
Mir bleibt zum Abschluss das Plädoyer. Es ist
in the end, I'm left with a plea, a joint plea for changes in the whole society. Today we heard that this refugee policy, the situation of the refugees, but also the situation in Germany of the workers, of the women, has a name. The name is imperialism. Some contributions were made on this. What I think was not sufficiently tackled is that there is an alternative. Different examples in the environmental policy, in the exploitation of workers, it became clear it's the big corporations. It's, as it was mentioned, the international finance capital that is ruling, dominating the world. And this exploitation, oppression, the destruction of environment, all these refugee movements, this is the cause. But it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't stay like that. The world is so rich. We have so much insight. We have such an advanced technology. We have so advanced insights on medicine, on medical. The entire world could live without hunger and exploitation and starvation and exploitation and oppression if it wasn't for this small strata with only living for extending their power and their money. What's the alternative's name? There are different opinions. I call it socialism. Others call it a really, genuinely democratic society. But what we have in common is that we say the potential is there for a different life, for a life without exploitation and oppression. And we experience only in the Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität, in all the witnesses that we experience today, in Moria, in Karatepe, also in Lipa, in the industrial plants, how the cohesion and the solidarity and to be organized in the end is stronger than the oppressive powers. This is why we plea, let's not stop at the indictment in individual militant activities or resistance. Let's join forces across country borders to fight for a world which is worth living, a future for our children. This is our plea in the end of this tribunal, and part of it is the song which comes at the end, the campaign song, the movement song of Freundeskreis Flüchtlingssolidarität. United we stand, divided we fall. This is the song in the end. Thank you so much to everyone who courageously brought their witness statement. Thank you to all the helping hands that are here. Thank you to everyone who in Germany and in many countries of the world fight in an organized manner for the refugees to obtain their rights, but for the entire world to be just in dignity and has a future for our children. Let's stick together. Thank you very much. Let us fight together. Let us conquer the future together. Also, Glück auf, good luck from the minus city of Gelsenkirchen.
Hello, can you hear us? Pay attention to our voice. Well, keep us together. Hello, 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 can you hear us? Pay attention to our cry. Come on. Pay attention to our cry. Here we go. Pay attention to our cry. Here we go. Let love meet. The color doesn't matter. We are one. No matter where you come from. Black lives matter. Refugees and all the oppressed people. Let's lift up our voice. Fight for our rights. Come on. Solidarity forever. United we stand. Divided we fall. 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 Heart, one mind, and one spirit. Fight racism, deportation, anti-communism. Heart, one mind, and one spirit. We want to live in peace and socialism. Come on. Solidarity forever. United we stand. Solidarity forever. United we stand. Divided we fall. Solidarity forever. United we stand. Divided we fall. Solidarity forever. United we stand. Divided we fall. No, let's come together as well. No deportation. Let's come together as well. No more. Solidarity forever. No more deportation. Stop deportation. Stop anti-community. We're one people, one love. Keep us together. One love. Solidarity. Solidarity forever. United we stand. Divided we fall. 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 Come together as one. Stop deportation. Stop anti-community. We are fighting for society. Oh, let's come together. One love, one love, one love, one love, one love.